p.m. with Jeff Siembieda and JJ Buck.
Well, I sat here and told you yesterday, it was the whole world's talking about Gonzaga. Everybody was talking about Gonzaga, and you get this feeling that Baylor's just sitting back saying, hey, we're pretty damn good. What about us? All we did was just blow Houston out in that semifinal. Yep, their game was exciting. It was good, but we didn't need ours to be good. Boy, Baylor's nice. They are tenacious. They are tough. They rebound. They score from everywhere, and even in foul trouble, they are the champions. 86-70, Baylor ends the undefeated run of Gonzaga and cuts down the Nets. What is up? I'm bummed it's over. Happy Tuesday to you. It's the opening drive, Jeff Siembieda and JJ Buck. I mean, as I sat there and watched it, I think I enjoy these tournaments every year. I thoroughly enjoyed that tournament. I mean, aside from the obvious, the first round loss to Syracuse, I thoroughly enjoyed this tournament. And the best team won. Baylor was fantastic. And you and I sat here yesterday and said, kind of got a weird feeling, huh?
Yeah, and the word I kept coming back to was unbelievable, what Baylor was doing defensively to Gonzaga. And we knew how good this Baylor team was, but it looked like it was two different weight classes.
Yeah,
Gonzaga stepped in a ring with a heavyweight, took some shots, and I was like, I don't know how to counter this. I don't know how to get the opponent down to the ground. And the physicality, the guard play for Baylor is phenomenal. And the statement that they made last night was, we are the best team in college basketball, and we're not going to leave any doubt in anyone's mind. They turned the Final Four into their personal Mike Tyson punch-out. What they did to Houston and then what they did to Gonzaga, two really good basketball teams, made them not look like really good basketball teams. It made them look like mid-major teams in their American Athletic Conference and West Coast Conference.
There was a point in that first 8 minutes or so where I looked at Addie. We were watching the game. I said, Gonzaga looks like they don't belong. Like to your point on two different weight classes, Gonzaga looked frazzled. How many times did Bill Raftery say, talk about how just they're out of sorts? How many unforced errors, losing the ball on a dribble, stuff that, I mean, here was a team that was, for 30-something games, so buttoned up, so good, so clean, and they're still really well coached. But Baylor got up into them. And I'm just going to tell you, the tone was set on the first series. They had 3 offensive rebounds in the first 2 series. And they had 16 offensive rebounds to Baylor overall. Gonzaga had 22 rebounds total. I mean, if you're a stat guy, and I don't think most of us are, but if you're looking for one particular column to look at, just look at offensive rebounds. It's second chance points. I think Clark Kellogg said at halftime that Baylor had 16 more shot attempts. Well, you're going to win the game when you shoot the ball more times. Even if you're shooting at 30%, how many more times is the ball going in the hoop? It was defense and it was offensive rebounding, the things that coaches tell you all the time. That's what you control, even if your shots aren't falling. Oh, and by the way, their shots were falling. Baylor was fantastic.
They were. And it's one where you can come away and go, all right, that is indeed the best team in college basketball. There's no flukiness about it. There's no, Gonzaga had an off night. No, Baylor made Gonzaga look that bad. And, as the game was playing out, you had plenty of time to really think about the entirety of the season for Gonzaga. And so many people immediately went to their conference. And I wasn't sold immediately this was a West Coast Conference thing. Because I think Gonzaga, you look at any other team that comes out of the other side of the bracket, I think they win that contest. And then on the flip side, Baylor, any other team that comes out of the other side, they do that same thing to them. I think that's the way it was. I do think these are the 2 best teams in college basketball, but Baylor showed that they just have a level that teams couldn't match this season. Because we always talk about a basketball player, and we're like, oh, he's a 3-and-D guy. He'll play some defense and hit some threes. That's the entire Baylor basketball team. The Baylor Bears play defense at a level that we don't usually see from teams that can be as good as they are offensively. And they are the total package. They got some traditional post players inside that will cause you trouble, but even when those guys got in foul trouble, they just hit you with waves of guards that defend, shoot like crazy, and make your life a nightmare.
Well, they're three deep bigs. They're three deep at point. They shoot from everywhere. And so, like when Tamba fouled out, it wasn't a big deal, right? Chachua comes in. They keep, to your point, keep throwing them in waves at you, and they're tenacious. It's something. So I thought about the league thing, and I'm struggling buying it too. If Gonzaga played in the Big 12, they wouldn't have gone undefeated. I do believe that. Okay, I'm not going to sit here and try to make some claim that the West Coast Conference is as good as some of these other. They're not. That's why Gonzaga does what they do in the non-conference schedule. That's why they schedule like they do. That's why they tried to play this game back in December. But did Wisconsin's league cause them to get handled by Baylor? Did Villanova's league, was that the reason that Baylor went and handled them the way they did? If the league could have helped Gonzaga, it would have been to the point where they would have played more games, where they'd have had to be in situations like they were. But I looked at what they did against UCLA. They were in a situation against UCLA, and they handled that. That's a team out of the Pac-12. Well, Jeff, they were 11 seed. I got it. Gonzaga, I thought, fought back and put themselves in a position at halftime. I think Gonzaga's a really good team. Gonzaga played. You look what they got through, and the teams that they beat. Gonzaga's the second best team in college basketball. Baylor's just that much better than everybody else. And if you didn't know it but before last night, I think we know it now. The league thing has the slight merit to me of what does it get you ready for? Baylor's played these games all year. Baylor's played games like this all year. Gonzaga has not.
And it was just, as how the Jimmy and the Joes. Like, this Gonzaga team doesn't have dudes that can play this style of basketball. This is a game I was watching, and boy, Drew Timme looked like he didn't belong. And you're wondering, man, does Zach Collins or Domantas Sabonis have any eligibility left? Because they need one of those guys inside. The backcourt physicality looked completely different. And you know what I kept thinking back to? It was like it reminded me of the Super Bowl, right? You have this Kansas City team that's spread offense, so efficient, but then it run up against a Tampa Bay team that's, guess what? They can play both sides of the ball. And that was exactly the way I felt. Is this was a high-flying, wide-open, want-to-get in space Gonzaga team, and then they ran into someone that takes away all that space, as we talked about. No second chances, and it was a long night for Gonzaga.
Yeah, all right, 505-246-0610. That's how you get to us today. Talk about what you saw last night. You have a national championship, and it is the Baylor Bears. And what a job. You think back to where the program was when Scott Drew took over after everything that happened after Dave Bliss and where that program was. They talked about it quite a bit on the broadcast last night, the build, the rebuild of what that program, was there anything like it? I can't think of anything. Steve Fisher, what he did at San Diego State, but he didn't get him to this point. I mean, this is
there's nothing,
and they weren't as low. Yeah.
Yeah, there's nothing comparable to this situation. There's been bad programs that have come back, but we're talking about a university that had a player murdered, that had a coach take part in covering up that. So there's nothing like it. And I'm sure there are some people going, rebuild. Isn't there an issue? Because it's not something they just wanted to start throwing out there, talking about Dave Bliss and stuff in the national championship game last night. But this is an unbelievable situation where they go from having like on-campus tryouts to just like, is there anyone that can shoot a basketball, that's willing to play basketball and at least fill a team, to a national championship?
Yeah, and they stuck with Scott Drew. They realized what they were dealing with. They went out and got a guy who wanted a job that nobody else really wanted. I mean, in large respect, and to say nobody wouldn't be fair, but it was still a high-paying job in the Big 12. But a job where I think I know the majority of the thought process was you can't do it. What are you doing? What are you going there for? Look what you're going into. And it took time. It took time and it took patience. And they cut down the nets last night with a team that, JJ, that's as tough and gritty. And again, I'm really trying to fight recency bias. But that's a tough, as just tenacious, tough team as I've seen in a long time.
Absolutely. The way they play blends two styles of basketball. It absolutely is the old school defense wins championships, but they shoot it well enough to buy in to three-point shot or scoring at the basket. And the guard play, we knew it was different, and this Baylor backcourt has been different all year long. Mitchell, Butler, Teague, the way those guys defend, it's uncomfortable, just unbelievable defensive performance throughout the entire tournament and season from Baylor.
All right, we're going to take the break. 505-246-0610. We're going to go through this and want your thoughts on it. Obviously going to talk NFL. Sam Darnold got traded yesterday. You got the Masters coming up. North Carolina's got a new head coach. Major League Baseball was interesting last night as well. So full show for you. Bobcat's producing on the radio side. Looks like Aaron on the TV side at ProView Networks. 505-246-0610 is how you get to us. Send emails, Jeff or JJ at sportsanimалabq.com.
And if you want to be ready for your moments when your number is called, let me tell you about F45 training. F45 training is high-intensity circuit training in 45-minute classes. New classes every day throughout the week. Like this week on Friday, it's quarterback, agility, resistance, and power-based cardio movements. And oh, by the way, you got classics like Hollywood, your 60-minute workout on a Saturday, which you can get used to. It's tough, but it will always push you and challenge you. Keep your mind and body moving forward. Check them out at f45training.com. Download the F45 app to take a look at the class schedule. They have classes 7 days a week. You can sign up for your 7-day free trial so you can get in the gym and check it out yourself. Certified trainers at every class to help you, of course, not just with the workouts themselves. Do you need a modifier, or maybe you need a little motivation to get you through your day? The trainers are awesome, great personalities, and it adds to what is a great atmosphere at the gym. It's located at 5920 Holly Northeast, so it's really good access from wherever you're coming from in town. All fitness levels, whether you're looking to kickstart your fitness or challenge yourself to get to another level, F45 training is the place for you. So check them out at f45training.com. Download the F45 app. Team training, life-changing. I'll see you at F45.
Wide open, Jaden Phillips. Oh, he shattered him like dirty laundry into a hamper.
That was a Derrick Henry style stick.
Motion, there's Winnikoff. Lane, it looks like Winnikoff's wide open over here, but he's threatened on the play. That was Jaden Brown, and he's going to have to just chuck this one up, and that's a touchdown! Wow! I can't believe he was in position for that play.
So, you know, things are looking good. They'll want to avoid Webskowski on the kick, but it gets to the 10. Or I beg your pardon. Now across the 50. That's going to be an opening house call. He's going all the way, and he's going to go untouched. 90 yards for Lujan, and that is a nightmare start for Clovis.
That young.
Nice serve by Moore. Wow. Outstanding work. Middle blocker, Haley Areola.
Gomez again, the motion man. This one instead handed off. And right through the gut, there's a bunch of space. Nice little hop there. Etrisco fans are on their feet, and for good reason, as that's a 41-yard touchdown. Jaden Cowley.
11 for the Tigers. Thurman will roll to his right. Throws on the down and out. Caught. trying to go for the goal line. Leads it in, touchdown. What a play.
Jaguars, the snap, handed off to Cowley. The big man sweeps aside one, cutting back inside. He turns around the other direction. He's heading this way, and he's got to just beat one more, and he does. Touchdown.
Cover a ball. Barella in the serve. There's a dig. Boom, the kill shot. Number 6. I tell you what, man, Morgan Torres on the kill shot. 7 seconds left. People are stunned. There's just so much scoring on this game. Will the Hawks be able to respond with the big play? There's a fake on the right side. He's got an open field. Oh my gosh, and just like that, holy cow, amazing. Just like that, the Hawks score. Number 2, Caden Valdez on the right side.
Number on the punter.
And we were kind of playing, with our back to the back, not facing up, and we couldn't get anything generated going to the basket. We were kind of playing sideways, and then at the other end, we had no answer as far as keeping some of their guards in front, and made a couple of mistakes that we talked about not doing as far as giving them catch and shoot threes or shakedown threes, and they made us pay in a hurry.
Gonzaga head coach Mark Few. Yeah, you haven't played like that all year. You haven't played a team like that all year. I guess, JJ, when it came down to it, there was just one team like that all year. As good as Gonzaga was, and as good as they looked against the teams that they beat, not just the teams in their league, the teams they beat, the teams out of their league, the teams in the tournament, the teams in their non-conference. There's one team like this, and it was Baylor. And we saw this coming. The COVID break that Baylor went on kind of pushed them off. I think it was 1-2, 2-1 until the COVID break. Once Baylor went on there, they got hit with the COVID. It became Gonzaga 1, Baylor 2. But I think we saw this coming. I just don't know that any of us saw the separation. And when we all saw it last night, there was no denying it. There's no, to your point, there's no, if you're a Gonzaga fan, there's no, well, if that, no. I mean, it's just, this is how it was, man. There was just a better team.
Yeah, they left no doubt. And I don't think there's much you can do to prepare yourself for Baylor. Because we look at the league scenario, which Gonzaga's going to have to wear that. Like, that's a national narrative that's not going to go away until they win a national championship. And it's just the way some people react. Because when I put out there early in the first half, just my thoughts in the first 10 minutes, I immediately got a few responses. Well, it's because they play in the West Coast Conference and they're not ready for this. And I'm like, I just can't fully buy that, because I think Baylor would have made any other team look like that. Look what they did to Houston. Look at the other teams on their run. Now, they didn't have 16, 20-point wins, but they had double-digit victories in most of their games in this tournament. And I just think this was a credit of a special Baylor team that not many squads play like that. This is a blend of both worlds where coaches talk about it. They're like, oh, we want to play fast, but we want to have the effort defensively. We don't want to be able to shoot and defend. Well, usually teams can't do all of that at the level Baylor does to make you feel so uncomfortable when you have the basketball.
What did Baylor do to Villanova, Wisconsin, Arkansas? Is it because those teams play in the leagues they play in? Because it didn't look that much different, did it?
No, it didn't look as bad. Now, given Gonzaga coming in a favorite in this contest, we knew this wasn't going to be a double-digit game. But it's something that was absolutely out there. And if you're Gonzaga, all you can do is, run it back. Like, you got back to the national championship game. What you're doing is working, because guess what? You get to the NCAA tournament, you go on these runs, and there's no, we just played at this team. You got to get yourself to the end. You got to beat who's ever in front of you. And they have the formula to get here, to get talent. Just ran into a buzzsaw in Baylor.
Yeah, at some point you do, and I think, can it just be there was a better team? When they lost to Carolina, I walked away with questions. I kind of felt Gonzaga was the better team that day. They got that horrible call. They played a game. They punch to punch to punch to punch. They were ready for that, weren't they? With Big Bad North Carolina. They were ready that year, weren't they?
Yep.
So they slugged it out with UCLA, didn't they? In the semifinal? I understand the narrative, and I understand they have to win. And they haven't. And so the narrative will be there, and it's so easy to, especially all the haters who, hate the West Coast and don't know anything about the West Coast Conference. And so I get that. You've got to be a power conference team to win. Houston was good. Well, I mean, they're just a little American conference. So the only way to get respect, I guess, is to cut down the nets, huh? Not getting to the championship game, not getting through everybody else. They're better than every other team in America but this team. I mean, is there anybody else? Is there a Houston? Is there a UCLA? Is there anybody else in America who can claim, yeah, we could beat them too? I mean, they all can claim it, but I mean, have validity to their claim. Who else?
No one. This is the two best teams in college basketball, no doubt about it. But what we just saw was a special performance by Baylor. Because I'll go back to it. I do believe if any other team comes out of the other side of the bracket, Gonzaga wins that game. And then if any other team other than Gonzaga is in a contest, Baylor still wins. Like, watching this basketball team the last 4 days and then taking an entirety of who they are, that's the way it is right now.
Maybe it would have been easier for people to swallow if Baylor was undefeated. If Baylor hadn't lost their 2 games along the way, maybe it would have been easier to swallow that, well, here's these 2 undefeateds. And obviously that would have been just unbelievable hype and big. But they came off of their COVID. What do you call it, a COVID break? What do you call it when they couldn't play? Because, I mean, is that what it is? When they came off of their hiatus, whatever, and they lost a couple of games. Kansas beat them, and they got beat somewhere else. Maybe then people would have realized, damn, that's not just some team that Gonzaga ran up against. But let's give Baylor their due, because what you watched last night was a wonderfully assembled team. Just so deep everywhere. So well coached and incredibly talented. So you put all that together. They're deep. They're assembled well, meaning they've got depth at every position. Good depth, not just bodies to throw out. Good, solid, strong, tenacious depth. They're super well coached. Oh, and by the way, they're really, really good. Did you watch them shoot the basketball? I mean, never like the offensive rebounding thing to me is the most impressive, but the way they shot the ball last night was so good. 3-point land, 10 out of 23. They shot almost 45% from the field. They out rebounded Gonzaga 38-22. 38-22 on the boards. They had 16 offensive rebounds. Like, this isn't. I know we're talking about Gonzaga. The story's Baylor. I can't agree with you more. No matter who would have come out of the Gonzaga side of the bracket, I don't care if it was Alabama, Texas, UCLA, Michigan. I think that game looks like that last night.
Yeah, it's to what, when we saw Gonzaga due to opponents, we're like, oh man, the offensive efficiency. There's not a defense like Baylor, and you take a step back and you go, man, this talent is unbelievable, because it's rare to see a team that can do it at that extent. It's like have that kind of defensive intensity where it's a grindhouse, and what they do to you to make you feel uncomfortable, the athleticism, the lateral quickness, they be up in your grill. Like, Gonzaga didn't want to handle the basketball last night. No one wanted the ball. Like, Jalen Suggs eventually did a little bit and tried to attack, but Drew Timme looked like he should be playing guard in a rec league somewhere. Like, Corey Kispert could not get space. Any layup, they were going to the basket. It was getting swatted into the stands. Just an unbelievable defensive performance.
Yeah, and it goes back to what you said earlier. It just looked like 2 different classes. There was a time where Gonzaga just looked like they did not belong. They just and that time could have been for 40 minutes. They looked like the JV team, didn't they?
They did.
I mean, that's how good Baylor was. All right, 505-246-0610. You can send emails Jeff at sportsanimalabq.com, JJ at sportsanimalabq.com. Watch the show. Aaron is producing for ProView Networks. You can watch it on our Facebook page, The OD in the AM. Go to ProViewNetworks.com. Bobcat's taking your calls at 505-246-0610. When we come back, let's get into the NFL stuff, because you had a pretty big move in the NFL yesterday, a really big move in the National Football League. And I think both teams came out all right. Sam Darnold is a Panther. We'll talk about that next on the opening drive on 95.9 FM and AM 610, the Sports Animal.
Don't sacrifice quality of flavor when you're in a hurry. Golden Pride offers ribs, fried chicken, green and red chili breakfast burritos, and Frontier Cinnabons. 4 great locations, or visit us online at goldenpride@abq.com. Golden Pride Barbecue Chicken and Ribs, proud supporter of ProView Sports Network.
Well, I'm going to the frontier, walking to the cashier, order up a root beer and a number 1. Cover it with green stuff, 1 scoop is not enough. Find a booth is real tough, back by the Duke. Meet my family, meet my friends in the quirkiest restaurant I have ever been. All of Albuquerque's favorite spot, it's the Frontier Restaurant.
The Frontier Restaurant is a proud supporter of ProView Networks.
Are you sure we're supposed to be doing this?
Don't worry, I've watched him do it 1,000 times. Come on, what's the worst that can happen?
No! Bad dog!
Hi, welcome to Car Crafters. What happened? Don't worry, we'll make it like it never happened.
Car Crafters! It's like it never happened!
Car Crafters is a proud supporter of ProView Networks.
For your surprisingly great rates, contact your local State Farm agent today.
If you want the real deal, call State Farm agent Marty Size in Albuquerque today.
Like a good neighbor, State Farm is there.
Gonzaga's a great team. They got beat last night by the better team. The question is, who would have won a 7-game series? We'll never know. Zags beat Kansas, Auburn, West Virginia, Iowa, Virginia, Oklahoma, USC, UCLA. Not bad, huh? I said, no, great, in fact. But it's hard to argue when they hit the finish line. Baylor was just absolutely, to me, superior. Gonzaga's really, really good. Baylor's just flat out better. All that's impressive. And that's why it's hard to sit here and just eat well, it's their league argument. They beat Kansas, 3 seed. Auburn. I don't think Auburn made the tournament. But, okay, Auburn was good. West Virginia, 4 seed. Iowa, 2 seed. Virginia, 4 seed. Oklahoma, 8 seed. USC, 6 seed. And UCLA, Final Four. They beat all those teams. So this whole, well, Gonzaga, they're not good. They play in that league. No, Baylor was just better.
I'm 100% on that. I did not think less of Gonzaga after this. I think more of Baylor, a team that expected to give Gonzaga a challenge. I was pulling for the Zags, but knowing what Baylor could do, they don't give you second chance opportunities anywhere. They make your life so difficult in the basketball court, and we saw that last night. You know, I felt uncomfortable at times watching. That's how good Baylor is defensively, and I wasn't even holding a basketball.
Yeah, but they felt incredibly uncomfortable. Just watch it. You can see. Dan, good morning. You're on the Quan's Auto Care Hotline. Hello, Dan.
Coming, it's rolling around the bend, and I ain't seen the sunshine since I don't know when.
Danny Cash.
Choo-choo, mama.
Yeah, you were all over Texas teams. You had a lot of them to pick. You had a lot of Texas teams to pick from.
I did. I had a whole bunch of Texas teams on both sides to pick from, so it's a pretty sound bet. But when I saw I had Houston to win it all. You remember that, Jeff? And when I saw what Baylor did to Houston, because I thought Houston was going to be able to play with Gonzaga, and then when I saw what Baylor did to Houston, I was on the Baylor wagon for the rest of the ride. But it was fun. Riding
Where'd
the
he go?
Texas train, and I had a lot of fun watching that game last night. I had a lot of fun messing around with you and all the guys during the tournament, and that's what makes it fun, And congratulations to the Baylor Bears, a long time coming. You guys have just a beautiful day.
You too. See you, Dan. Yeah, Dan was all over the Texas bracket. I think he had Texas and Houston, and I think he had Texas Tech coming through for a while and running into Houston somewhere. Is that what
Still
happened?
only the second Division I title for the state of Texas. Texas
And the other one
Western
was?
still
Yeah.
a very special
crazy?
spot in history. Hold on to that. Congratulations. But now there's two.
Yeah, it's kind of crazy. If you just said the only, it would have made people think a little bit, right? Because people's mind wouldn't have gone there if you said the state of Texas prior to that had only one national championship in men's basketball. Oh yeah, when did Texas win? No, okay. A&M did A&M win? I mean, it would have taken you a long time to get down to Texas Western. For most people. I mean, there's some that would have said, boom, of course. It's certainly in that part of the state it would have. But man, I where I come out of it, honestly, like I'm kind of bummed it's over. I really enjoyed this particular tournament. I think I normally do. Sit here with recency recollection. The games were good. Like there were so many. Now there were blowouts like there are in every other tournament, but there was. This one, for whatever reason, and maybe we're jonesing a little bit more. I don't know. I enjoyed this one.
Well, we didn't get it last year. We had no madness. The madness was of another kind this past year. And then to get our bracket back, to get our NCAA tournament in, thumbs up once again to everyone involved, the student athletes for buckling down, getting into the bubble, doing what they had to do, everyone else to put on the season. And, they did the best they could. They had one incident where VCU had to pull out. Other than that, they got an entire 68-team NCAA tournament played. It was absolutely fantastic. I think there's nothing like it. There's nothing like the NCAA tournament.
Yeah.
You can tell me one day, Super Bowl is not high on my list. It's a game that's like, all right, like this event is phenomenal because it extends an entire month and you get so many chances for excitement.
Well, and it involves not every region of the country, but just about every region of the country. At some point, everybody to some extent is in, whether they have a bracket or they heard about a bracket or the kids at school were talking about whatever it is. Even the kids that were at the house the other day, they all told me who they had winning and what their bracket was, and it was good. It was really, really fun to get through it. And to your point, if we'd have put the over under, I think we did at 1.5. We both went over how many games are going to get lost because of COVID. They went into the bubble. It's horrible for those kids at VCU, but when you look at the overall, they did a hell of a job getting this done, because when you look at the percentage of games that were lost throughout the season, now granted we're at a place where there's vaccinations and all the things that are going, and numbers are going down for the most part throughout the country. We've hit a different spot, but I did not believe that they would get through with just one cancellation. And the deeper you get into the tournament, the bigger each game gets. Not that a game in the round of 64 isn't big, but a game in the round of 8 is bigger, right? And so the deeper you get, and I'm going to go back to this, just because I don't know, I think it's relatable. JJ, when we were running the bowl game in Frisco, and the Frisco Bowl had got shut down on Saturday, we were playing on Thursday, and they got shut down because of SMU had a bunch of cases, and every time my phone rang or buzzed, it was like, oh, damn. Right? I was waiting for somebody to tell me there's a COVID outbreak on one of these teams that we're shutting down. And the closer you got to the event, the more nervous I was getting. And I remember Hawaii saying, we only had one the whole time. We're good. We're doing everything right. And Houston saying, everybody's already had it. What are we worried about? But so that's where I got to believe they were, and that's why tip of the cap, man, for everybody, the student athletes, all the way up through. And I know it's not okay to in most circles to say good job to the NCAA, but to the NCAA for figuring out how to get this thing pulled off in a manner that we all got to enjoy it.
Yeah, they pulled off 2 basketball tournaments, and I think they lost 1 game on the men's and women's side.
Yeah.
I think they made the right decision to regionalize it, bubbleize it this year, limit the travel, limit the time, so you're not bouncing in airplanes all over the place, and it worked.
Yeah. Yeah, and I don't think anybody really wants the model going forward. You want your fans back in, the fans to be able to travel. The regional sites are hit and miss, to be honest with you. Sometimes they're half empty, and sometimes they're crazy, right? But I think you enjoy that and enjoy coming to where are we going to go? When your team's in, are we going to Salt Lake City? Are we going to Sacramento? Oh, we got shipped to Syracuse. Oh my goodness, we're going to Atlanta. Whatever it is, all the fun of that, and. But step by step, right? Because this beat the hell out of what we did last year. COVID craziness into March Madness, and I don't know, man. I good job. Again, here's to all the people who pulled that thing off because it was something else. 86-70, Baylor's your winner. All right, we're going to start this. We'll carry this into the next segment. Came down about 2-something in the afternoon, probably about 2:30. Sam Darnold gets moved, and I know we'll hear from Sean at some point today. The Jets trade their quarterback to the Carolina Panthers for a 6th-round pick in this year's draft, a 2nd, and a 4th in next year's draft. I think it's okay to say there's a trade that on the surface looks like it works for both teams, right? Carolina gets what they believe is their upgrade at quarterback, a guy who's a former first-round pick. They don't have to empty the draft vault, and yet where we are in the process, I think the Jets got decent draft equity back. Do you feel that way?
Sean's already on the line.
Yeah, this is one that there was, to me, no question about it. The right decision for the Jets is to restart that clock. Bring a new quarterback in there because it gives yourself more time to build a team instead of a 2-year window where you're left going to the next season and saying, are we going to pay Sam Darnold or not? Well, now you can, Zach Wilson, most likely going to be the number 2 overall pick, bring him in, start his 5-year window, and rebuilding the franchise. So I think it was a correct move for the Jets to get what they could out of Sam Darnold because it was out there. It wasn't a surprise. There wasn't a bidding war going on for Sam Darnold. I think there's some other teams that might be looking at it going, would he be worth a second? I think we're okay. But for me, I don't know what Carolina's doing. Like, other than he's 23 years old, show me what moment I need to believe that Sam Darnold can turn it around. Because there's been quarterbacks on bad teams that at least have had their moments. And you see it going, man, if he just was in the right situation, I think this could work. I'm not saying that Sam Darnold is a complete loss, but I haven't seen that moment. The dude's played 38 games and thrown 39 interceptions. Like, where's that moment that says, you know what? It was all Adam Gase's fault. Yeah, he was a bad coach. But I'm struggling to see how all of a sudden Sam Darnold is better than Teddy Bridgewater, who I thought last year was the guy that was supposed to ignite this franchise.
He was. Sean, how you feeling? You know you're going quarterback. You have an idea which one. I don't know you know for sure. What's up, Sean?
Doing well, gentlemen. How's it going?
It's good.
Good. So, yeah, definitely going quarterback, too. No question about it anymore. I thought that was cemented with the trade with the 49ers at 3, but I'm still not sold on Zach Wilson. I'd rather take Fields.
Okay,
Fields'
why?
track record against better competition has been better than Zach Wilson. He had to fight for that starting position to start a shortened season.
Okay.
I'm not saying that's an indictment against the skill set. I just think Fields has a better record against better competition.
Yeah, Fields, it's inarguable that it was better competition. I don't know that he was as consistent. Now, you could say that's because of the competition. I guess it comes down to that's what all these workouts are for, right? And what is it you want? I cautioned after this national semifinal on the Justin Fields thing. He was so good in the semifinal game. and said, let's see where we are in a week. And then I didn't want to over go either way. I mean, he wasn't good against Alabama. I think Fields can be really good. I'm the other way. I think I like Wilson better than Fields.
That's a fair statement. At this point, either way, that quarterback isn't built for success with the way the Jets are right now.
Nope.
For the same reason we had no success with Darnold. And yet Darnold, his skill set was shown not to be that highlight from one Rose Bowl game that we hoped it would be for his entire career, which was ridiculous in the first place. USC quarterbacks have never been good with the Jets. But to JJ's point, I don't think Darnold is going to come in and light up the Panthers because Bridgewater was a more dynamic quarterback. If we were having a true quarterback competition, Bridgewater would have been the quarterback of the Jets instead of Sam Darnold, instead of being traded to the Saints.
People love Sam Darnold, man. The scouts, the NFL guys, they love Sam Darnold. And a lot of people really believe that if he was in this quarterback draft, he'd be the number 3 guy, right? Even with everything you know right now. And that's where I sit around and I look at Wilson, I look at Fields, and JJ, you are, I think, convinced that these guys are better than Darnold. I'm not sure I'm convinced any of them are better than what they had, but they had to move on because they've basically expired their patience on it.
Yeah, there's not a for sure in any of this. You're betting on one of these guys, and I think it is the right bet for the Jets to extend that window because now they have 7 picks in the first 2 rounds the next 2 years. That's how you start rebuilding a franchise.
Yeah. And the thing about that is I'm pretty sure we've seen close to Sam Darnold's ceiling. We have yet to see Fields or Wilson's ceiling.
And if that's what you believe, then you made the right move. Then you had to do this. All right, let's talk about it as we get closer, Sean, but I appreciate you checking in.
Appreciate you, folks. Have a good one.
All right, 505-246-0610. This is intriguing because, there's people like you who are, what is Darnold? There's nothing there. He's a flop. And there's others who say he never really got a chance. He wasn't healthy. He had no support. And let's give him another chance, and that's where Carolina was. Hey, you trusted your home security, your business security, to a local company with an armed response, and then they sold out. You got selected. Now your security's on the brink of being bought out by a national corporate giant, and that's not what you signed up for. Call International Protective Service, IPS. IPS isn't for sale. IPS is invested in this community. They care about your home and your business security like it's their own. Let the highly trained armed guards or 24-hour patrols of IPS protect what's yours. I've trusted IPS for years to watch my home. Every day they come by, at least once a day. You go out of town, they pick up the newspaper, the mail if you ask them to, roll out the garbage cans on garbage day. Give your home that lived-in look. Don't wait until something bad happens. Protect what is yours. Call International Protective Service. The phone number is 505-897-2420. That's 505-897-2420, or visit them at ipsglobal.com.
Rudy's is a proud supporter of ProView Networks.
A rogue virus, no jobs, sky-high tuition debt. Life is trying to put our generation on the sidelines. But we refuse to just sit back and watch it pass us by. Instead, watch us fly ahead. Watch us overcome anything. Watch us rise. Watch us change our world. Watch us become the next greatest generation.
Calling all football players, are you looking to develop your skills this season? It's never too late or too early to put in the work. Coach Carl Barrere and the Air Barrere program at 8 Grady's Performance Center provide comprehensive position training for aspiring football players at all levels. Whether you're looking to increase your speed, gain strength, or hone your skill, we train all positions with a team of experienced coaches who know what it takes to succeed at all levels from Yaffle to college. Check us out at 8gradys.com to learn more and sign up for training today.
Jackson Compaction wants to help you keep your
green. And keep the community green as well.
Jackson Compaction has worked hard to maintain the same prices since day one. Always easy and painless trash removal with professional crews and quality service. If it's non-hazardous waste, debris, or trash on your land, leave it to us. At Jackson Compaction, we're dedicated to ensuring the conservation of our environment.
You trash it,
we smash it. Jackson Compaction, we've earned a reputation for great results.
Hi, I'm Staff Sergeant Hayes. I'm with the New Mexico Army National Guard, and I'm from Tucson, Arizona.
Hi, I'm Staff Sergeant Greg Martinez. I'm with the New Mexico Army National Guard, and I'm from Santa Fe, New Mexico.
Hi, I'm Marilena Fernandez. I'm with the New Mexico Army National Guard, and I'm from Santa Fe, New Mexico.
The New Mexico Army National Guard is a proud supporter of New Mexico high school athletics.
Your surprisingly great rates? Contact your local State Farm agent today.
If you want the real deal, call State Farm agent Art Sandoval in Albuquerque today.
Like a good neighbor, State Farm is there.
Next in line. Rudy's is a proud supporter of ProView Networks.
Sadie's is a proud supporter of New Mexico high school sports and athletics, and we here at ProView Networks would like to thank Sadie's for their continued support in helping us bring you all of your New Mexico high school sports coverage.
Meet Greg Shamus. He's a State Farm agent, which means he's here to help with all this. But it's easier to just remember he's here to help life go right. Call State Farm agent Greg Shamus at 505-898-3648 today.
At New Mexico Highlands University, you're more than a student, you're family. Whether you're taking courses in Las Vegas, Santa Fe, Rio Rancho, Albuquerque, or Farmington, you'll get that one-on-one attention to inspire you to reach your goals. Let New Mexico Highlands help take your passion and accelerate it into a career and fulfilling life path. Find out why New Mexico Highlands is the right choice for you. Log on to NewMexicoHighlands.com today.
TurboThreads is a proud sponsor of ProView Networks.
Almost 30 years of experience means fast service, great prices, and a wide selection of apparel from t-shirts to performance sport shirts, even jackets and hats. They feature low minimums and no setup charges on most orders. TurboThreads is located at 1503 Golf Course Road in Rio Rancho, or find them on Facebook, online at turbothreads.com, or call 999-1234 for TurboThreads.
Plan your adventure at WNMU.edu.
Extreme Clean is a proud sponsor and supporter of ProView Networks and all high school sports athletics. Owner Mike McLean and Extreme Clean specialize in carpet cleaning for apartment, realty, business, and residential clients. With over 20 years experience, attention to detail and quality customer service matters. For more information, give them a call, 505-221-6440, Extreme Clean.
Your surprisingly great rates? Contact your local State Farm agent today.
If you want the real deal, call State Farm agent Ashley Duran in Albuquerque today.
Like a good neighbor, State Farm is there.
Here at Legacy, we are here to disciple people by helping them connect with God,
grow in relationships, and live generously.
The Darnold trade's interesting in a lot of respects because people are all over the map on what they think. And JJ, your observations are valid. You know, where is it? What have you seen? He's played 38 games, 39 interceptions. Why do people think he's good? And
Tommy on
then there's
line.
the other side that says, you know, he hasn't got his chance yet, and I see it. And you know, football people say I see it. So Carolina took a chance. They didn't mortgage the farm. They paid, and they're going to take a shot.
And I don't like where Carolina is going at this moment in time. I don't think this is a huge upgrade over Teddy Bridgewater. You have such a small amount of time to see if this is going to work. All right, so he's throwing Robbie Anderson again, and you hope Christian McCaffrey is healthy. This is a Carolina team that went all in last season, not to be good, but to be an average football team, and they fell short of that. They used all 7 picks on defense. You know, they paid Teddy Bridgewater, which was a reasonable contract for him to come over. He wasn't great, but I just don't see this as a huge upgrade. Like, what is that one moment? Yes, the Jets were bad, and it was not a good situation for a quarterback. I understand, but I'm still looking for, where was that Sam Darnold game? What should I be excited about? Is it his arm talent? Is it his decision-making? Is that as simple as he's going from a bad team to an average football team, so maybe he should be a little bit better quarterback? What trait should I be excited about other than he's just 23 years old?
Yeah, it was in the Rose Bowl. Tommy, good morning. You're on the Quan's Auto Care Hotline. Hi, Tommy.
Hey, guys. Tommy the Truth's back at you. The way I look at that trade is that Gase almost destroyed Ryan Tannehill's career in Miami. Gase sucked. He sucked there. Sucked with the Jets as a head coach. They gave this guy nothing to work with. They want him to do everything by himself. Really. I saw some good moments from him, but he had nothing around him. Absolutely no talent and a terrible ownership. So I'm willing to give him the benefit of the doubt, see what he does in Carolina with better talent and a better offensive system for him. I'm not ready just to judge this guy because, let's face it, the Jets' ownership, horrible. Gase is horrible. He should never be a head coach again. Also, offensive coordinator, maybe, yes, but the guy just has a bad look for head coach. And what did Tannehill do after he left Miami and Gase? What did he do? When he got with a better team,
handed the ball off to Derrick Henry.
No, he made some great passes too. Tannehill made some good plays. He's a better quarterback over there. You can't just say it's all just handing it off. He made some good plays. He still get a franchise contract for being a bad quarterback.
I agree with Tommy on that.
I give this guy the benefit of the doubt just to get with a better team, a better talent, because the Jets organization, you guys know as well as I do, they stink. And Gase as a head coach stunk twice. He's horrible with Miami. I don't think he knows how to judge talent. So I'll give him the benefit of the doubt, see what he does with better talent around him, and take it from there. Because I can't judge him in New York because New York just sucks. Period.
All right, Tommy, thanks. So you think that Ryan Tannehill's only...
It's a joke.
Sensible. Okay. Because I was going to pull up the Ryan Tannehill numbers.
I don't know. Tannehill was a 500 quarterback with Adam Gase in Miami pretty much overall before he had his knee injury. He got hurt. So Adam Gase didn't run Tannehill into the ground as bad as we think he did. Ryan Tannehill hurt his knee in training camp. I don't think Adam Gase is a good head coach. But Ryan Tannehill at least had moments in Miami where you go, okay, you know, I see there's something there. They weren't a 2-win team with the Dolphins. So I think Adam Gase is bad. But I'm just what I don't care about the Rose Bowl. The dude's been in the NFL 3 seasons. What makes me think he's better than Teddy Bridgewater?
I guess I didn't realize that Ryan Tannehill had 6 years in Miami. I thought it was a couple of 3. He had 6 years in Miami. They went 7-9, 8-8, 8-8, 6-10, 8-5, 5-6, and then he went to Tennessee and went to the AFC Championship game, and well, he's become pretty good and got paid. I get it on the Tannehill thing from where, or on the Darnold thing from where you're coming from. Show me the moment, and there isn't that moment. But there's so many really smart NFL people who see something there. I'm going to compare.
They're not on franchises because there was one team that was forced to give up a second-round pick for this guy.
All right. And if that's what it costs you for a guy who was a first-rounder and take a shot, they're going to. I think it's going to work. 20. I know you don't. It's the opening drive. We're on ProView Networks at 95.9 FM and AM 610, the Sports Animal.
Wide open, Jaden Phillips. Oh, he shattered him like dirty laundry into a hamper.
That was a Derrick Henry style stiff arm.
Motion, there's Winnikoff. Lane, it looks like Winnikoff's wide open over here, but he's threatened on the play. That was Jaden Brown, and he's going to have to just chuck this one up, and that's a touchdown! Wow! I can't believe he was in position for that play.
So, things are looking good. They'll want to avoid Webskowski on the kick, but it gets to the 10. Or I beg your pardon. Now across the 50. That's going to be an opening house call. He's going all the way, and he's going to go untouched. 90 yards for Lujan, and that is a nightmare start for Clovis.
That young.
Nice serve by Moore. Wow. Outstanding work. The middle blocker, Haley Areola.
Gomez again, the motion man. This one instead handed off. And right through the gut, there's a it's just space. Nice little hop there. Etrisco fans are on their feet, and for good reason, as that's a 41-yard touchdown. Jaden Cowley.
11 for the Tigers. Thurman will roll to his right. Throws on the down and out. Caught. Trying to go for the goal line. Leads it in. Touchdown. What a play.
Jaguars, the snap handed off to Cowley. The big man sweeps aside one. Cutting back inside. He turns around the other direction. He's heading this way. And he's got to just beat one more. And he does. Touchdown.
In the serve. There's the dig. Boom, the kill shot. Number 6. I tell you what, man. Morgan Torres on the kill shot. 7 seconds left. People are stunned. There's just so much scoring on this game. Will the Hawks be able to respond with the big play? There's the fake on the right side.
Well, getting ever so close to the NFL draft, which is coming up in just a few weeks now, and a big move yesterday with Sam Darnold going to Carolina for a 6th-round pick this year, 2nd and a 4th, back to the Jets in 2022. Opening drive, Jeff Siembieda and J.J. Buck. Aaron's producing over on the ProView Network side. You could watch the show on our Facebook page, the OD and the AM, or give Bobcat a call. He'll take you and put you on the air at 505-246-0610. So where's the intrigue now, JJ? 1, 2, 3. I guess the intrigue is who will be the quarterbacks. There's so much talk coming out of San Francisco that The head coach likes Mac Jones. The general manager does not. So we're going quarterback. We know Trevor Lawrence is going to be number 1 to Jacksonville. We believe Zach Wilson number 2 to the Jets, and then the Niners do what?
I think it's an absolute coin flip right now between Mac Jones and Justin Fields at 3, because you never know what you can fully believe this time of year, because there are reports that come out and say, oh, sources say Team X is locked in on that person. You're like, are they, or do they actually want the other person? And they're floating that out there as a smokescreen. To me, Justin Fields is the Justin Herbert of this draft, where none of these are certain. Like Trevor Lawrence, there's good quarterbacks that go into the league and play bad because they're on bad teams. Just run down the history of first-round picks or first overall picks of quarterbacks. So there's not a for sure. Those are few and far between. But with what we have, I don't know how you wouldn't want to give Justin Fields a chance. Yes, you can factor in the competition, but he has the athleticism. He can play from the pocket. Like, this is what is now becoming a prototypical quarterback in the NFL. So I think if it goes Lawrence, Wilson, Mac Jones, 1, 2, 3, there could be a bidding war potentially for 4, and Atlanta's sitting there going, thank you very much. If someone wants to come up and grab a quarterback, we'll happily, roll out Matt Ryan a year or 2 more, acquire some picks, or if he slides down, someone's going to get a home run. And that's why I keep going back to, I don't like this trade at all for Carolina. I don't think it makes them better in the quarterback room. I don't think Sam Darnold's a huge upgrade from Teddy Bridgewater. And then if you're sitting there at 8, and let's say Justin Fields is sliding, that was your opportunity. That's the
do they still take him? Do they still take him?
If Justin Fields is sitting there at 8, you have to make that move. And then you're just like, well, we just made a bad trade, but at least we got Justin Fields.
Well, I don't think, first of all, I think they made a bad trade. Secondly, there's the Broncos at 9, right? If Justin Fields, let's say he's their guy. If Justin Fields slips past 3, if he's your guy, and you're the Broncos, do you jump up to 4 and try to trade something with the Falcons to get a quarterback?
If you're that convinced, like, hey, if this quarterback, if this guy is available after the top 3, make that move. Yes, if you're convinced he's your guy.
There's a lot of conversation at 8 to take Justin Fields for Carolina, who just made the trade for Darnold, and it would be very, very similar, not exactly, but similar to Carson Wentz and having Jalen Hurts last year. Now that was it. The difference is that was in the second round, but to go and draft that quarterback and have that dynamic on your team. Here's what I could see. This feels so Broncos to me, is to take Trey Lance at 9. And I don't know if Trey Lance is going to be good or not. Colin Cowherd said something yesterday, and I haven't verified it, but usually he's pretty good. He said 8% of quarterbacks who are drafted make it, are what you would consider successes. Now that number is skewed because you get quarterbacks that are drafted in the 6th, 7th round that they're never going to make it, right? Guys that they're there to be on your practice squad. So I think the number is certainly skewed, but the majority of your quarterbacks in the NFL, I mean, you've got your Tony Romos and you've got your Dak Prescotts and your Russell Wilsons and Tom Brady's, but there's such a minority of your starting quarterbacks. I mean, you go around the league and we've done this. We've done this a bunch of times. How many teams right now? I mean, Miami's got first round projected starters. Buffalo, Miami, New England has Cam Newton, and the Jets will have a first. All first round picks. Baltimore, Cincinnati, Cleveland, Pittsburgh, all first round picks, quarterback. Houston, Indianapolis has Wentz, first round pick. Jacksonville will have a first round pick. Tannehill, first round pick. Broncos have a first round pick. Mahomes, Carr. Was Carr second round? He was first pick of the second round, correct?
Carr is second round pick.
So the only projected starter as of right now in the AFC, the only non-first round quarterback projected starter in the NFL, in the AFC right now is Derek Carr, and he was the first pick of the second round.
Derek Carr and Drew Lock, Broncos.
Well, Drew Lock was a first round pick, wasn't he?
No, he wasn't.
He wasn't? Okay. All right, so there's 2. I mean, Arizona, the Rams, San Francisco. San Francisco's going to have a new one. Seattle doesn't. But I mean, just go down. Everybody. That's why you see so many guys, so many teams, clamoring for what feel like average quarterbacks every single year. And these average quarterbacks in your eyes get so much better than average the closer you get to the draft, because you realize, oh bleep, we're going to go another year without a quarterback. We have to have a first round quarterback. And that's where the 8% number comes in. That's why so many guys just do not make it.
Yes. And I do think it's something, too, that I myself have tried to pump the brakes a little bit. You always want to be striving to be the best at that position, because we know special guys can change your franchise. But I think there's some moments where you might have to take a deep breath and realize, all right, we're good. Let's just try to be the best we can. And I think that's a Cleveland moment right now, like in a solid spot with, say, Baker Mayfield. I think it's what kind of saw with the Rams as an organization, where it's good, but can we be a little bit better with Matthew Stafford? And ultimately, there's so much more that has to go into it, because you can have a great quarterback, and if you don't have a great team around him, then it doesn't matter. Just look at the Super Bowl. What happened when there were no offensive linemen left? Patrick Mahomes couldn't be himself. And so, yes, there's so much more that goes into it. But the percentages, to your point, if we want to look at starting quarterbacks in the NFL and what round they're drafted in, it's usually the first round.
All right, well, let me give you this. In the NFC, I just counted up 7, which feels like a lot. In fact, which feels to me like half, right? More than half of the quarterbacks are not first-round picks. Dak Prescott, Justin or Jalen Hurts, whatever Washington's doing, right? Whether it's Fitzpatrick or Heineke, not first-round picks. Minnesota, Kirk Cousins was a third-round pick. Tom Brady was a 6th-round pick. Jimmy Garoppolo was not a first-round pick. And Russell Wilson was not a first-round pick. Yeah, but San Francisco's got to come off the table, don't they? Because they're going to get a first-round pick and probably go with them. So 6 out of the 14. Or if you want to put San Francisco, the Saints are going with Jameis? Jameis was a first-round pick.
Yeah.
So now, how many of those teams that don't have first-round picks would you say are contenders? You would say Dallas is, absolutely. You would say Seattle and Tampa Bay, since Tampa just won. So would you say 3 of them? Is Minnesota a contender with Kirk Cousins? It's hard to say that right now, isn't it?
Yeah. If we're talking, are we talking Super Bowl contender? Because then I might not even know if I'd be ready to put Dallas in that situation. But, yeah.
Well, to win their division. I guess everybody, with a 4-team division, everybody's a contender to win their division. But I think playoff contender, Dallas, obviously Tampa Bay and Seattle. We took San Francisco out of the mix. So the 3 that aren't would be the Washington, Philadelphia, and Minnesota. There's your argument. That's why all these teams are clamoring. That's why what's going on is going on. That's why if he was in the first round, Akili Smith must be really good. Jamarcus Russell is a great player. Deal with it, right? Must be. If he was drafted the first round, he must be good. Sam Darnold, all right. And look, I don't think, to your point, the second-round pick next year may be a lot, maybe not. I don't even know what Carolina's draft capital is. They saw a guy that they wanted. They felt it was an upgrade at quarterback. Is it any different? How much more secure do you feel about Mac Jones, Zach Wilson, Trey Lance, any of these guys coming out than you do Sam Darnold? How much more?
I'll go back to the word that Sean used, ceiling. There's never a for sure, but you're extending the window, and you're having a different opportunity. I don't like this move specifically for Carolina. If it was maybe even like a Chicago taking this chance, you're like, okay, maybe that's the spark they need. But what does Sam Darnold bring to that offense that Teddy Bridgewater didn't do? And so we're going to hold it against Teddy Bridgewater that Christian McCaffrey didn't play last year?
No, I'm going to play the other side of that. What does Carolina do for Sam Darnold that the Jets didn't do? I mean, to your point, because your point's actually really valid, And I say actually because, oh my goodness, how could it be valid? Your point is right on. Why is he in a better situation? Now, if he goes to the Niners, you go, okay, now he's got an opportunity. If he goes to different, right, there's opportunities. I think I sit here with you. If you expect Christian McCaffrey to be healthy, he's got Robbie Anderson. They lost Curtis Samuel, but they have
DJ Moore. So he has a better wide receiver core, the best offensive player that he'll play with in Christian McCaffrey. But I just comparing it to where Carolina sits and having Teddy Bridgewater versus Sam Darnold, to me that's not a shoe-in that Sam Darnold is a better player at this point in time. And I think it puts them in a bad spot too to say if it was Justin Fields that dropped, did you have to make this move before the draft?
So I'm gonna the same argument I used with Jim Garoppolo a couple days ago. He was there for a year. They know what they've got in Teddy Bridgewater. They made a decision that he's not their guy. Like day in and day out, practice games, ceiling, whatever it is. Yeah, you're right. A year ago, they went out and got him, and he was going to be the guy. Now here they are, and they're sitting saying, well, we got him. We've had him. We think Sam Darnold's an upgrade. The guys who are there that are making those decisions, that have seen him day in and day out, they could be wrong, they could be right, but that's a decision those guys made. Because you're right. Is there a gigantic difference right now for you and me, the lay person who thinks they know football a little bit, between Sam Darnold and Teddy Bridgewater? Probably not. Two guys who were drafted, that were handed the keys to franchises at one point, that are now kind of bouncing a little bit, right? But the guys who made the decision. I just don't like the
timing of it either.
I get it.
Like, it didn't seem like there was a bidding war for Sam Darnold at this moment in time. And if I'm Carolina, I'd rather go in with that flexibility, potentially seeing what happens with a Justin Fields or a Trey Lance. And I think Justin Fields is easily the pick if he somehow slides over a Trey Lance. But this feels like if you're trading away future picks and a sixth rounder, you could have done that deal when you got to draft weekend if it didn't come your way. I would have liked to left the door open to potentially see what happens.
Sometimes it's hard to see the future, but it's not hard to see if you go and get LASIK from Dr. Stephen Coleman. I did that back in 2003, and I still enjoy the benefits every single day. One of the best decisions of my life was to go to Coleman Vision and get my LASIK done by Dr. Stephen Coleman. He is the best. I had a high degree of astigmatism. Didn't know what I had. I just knew I was wearing lenses and tired of wearing glasses and waking up in the morning at 3 a.m. and anchoring the news and putting in my contacts after my makeup. Dr. Coleman is the best. The cutting-edge technology that he uses, he's not only using, he is in on the development stages. Developed right here at Sandia Labs in New Mexico, and it's technology that's used all around the world, and that's why people come from everywhere to have their LASIK done at Coleman Vision, because people know the reputation that Dr. Coleman has and that he's been in private practice specializing in LASIK his entire career. He is at the top of the field when it comes to LASIK. Look, this is your eyes. This is something that is, if there's anything that's of utmost import, it is this. Go see the best. If you think you are a candidate for LASIK, if you're tired of wearing contacts or glasses, they're fogging up with your masks on, or you're done with it, go to ColemanVision.com and then call and make an appointment. Dr. Coleman has become family to me. They are incredible people, have done great things in this community. And the bottom line is he's the best in the business at what he does. Dr. Stephen Coleman and Coleman Vision. 505-821-8880. That's 505-821-8880. Visit them at ColemanVision.com. Seeing is believing. I sure as heck believe.
7 seconds left. People are stunned. There's just so much scoring on this game. Will the Hawks be able to respond with the big play? There's a fake on the right side. He's got an open field. Oh my gosh, and just like that, holy cow, amazing. Just like that, the Hawks score. Number 2, Caden Valdez on the right side.
Remember on the punter. We'll pop this up. The man to receive it is also wearing number 3, Isaiah Garcia. He does catch it off the hop. Nice move by him. He's got some room out there on the right-hand side. He's got to get around his opposite number. He does. Gets one block in. He gets around the last guy. Can he get in? And there's the first points for the Manzano Monarchs. Isaiah Garcia all the way here from his own 45.
Don't sacrifice quality and flavor when you're in a hurry. Golden Pride offers ribs, fried chicken, green and red chili breakfast burritos, and Frontier Cinnabons. 4 great locations, or visit us online at goldenprideabq.com. Golden Pride Barbecue Chicken and Ribs, proud supporter of ProView Sports Network.
Well, I'm going to the frontier, walking to the cashier, order up a root beer and a number 1. Cover it with green stuff, 1 scoop is not enough. Find a booth that's real tough, backed by the Duke. Meet my family, meet my friends in the quirkiest restaurant I have ever been. All of Albuquerque's favorite spot, it's the Frontier Restaurant.
The Frontier Restaurant is a proud supporter of ProView Networks.
Are you sure we're supposed to be doing this?
Don't worry, I've watched him do it 1,000 times. Come on, what's the worst that can happen?
No! Bad dog!
Hi, welcome to Car Crafters. What happened? Don't worry, we'll make it like it never happened.
Car Crafters, it's like it never happened.
Car Crafters is a proud supporter of ProView Networks.
For your surprisingly great rates, contact your local State Farm agent today.
If you want the real deal,
Here is your
call State
national
Farm.
champion, men's basketball, 86-70. They beat Gonzaga yesterday in the national championship game. You heard it here on the Sports Animal. The superior team. And this isn't one of those what-if things. And you know, I got a text this morning, who would win in a 7-game series? I think Baylor would win. And from what I saw last night, now we would see adjustments in different things, and teams would get used to it. But I just saw one team that was better than the other, and the other team is really good. Gonzaga was really good, but Baylor was just superior. And you know, we walk out in years and we go, gosh, I wonder who really was the best team. I know who the champion was. And I tell you a lot, champions, it doesn't always mean that was the best team, but they were the champions. They win. They got hot. They won the games. They whatever. The best team was Baylor. And I didn't think that going in, although I kind of had a hunch. I told you yesterday that with all of the talk about Gonzaga, and because of the way Gonzaga beat UCLA, and what a great game that was, there was no buzz about Baylor. And I had this weird feeling yesterday, and I told you this, that Baylor's going to be sitting there thinking, wait a minute, man, what about we just beat the tar out of Houston, a 2 seed. They struggled and went overtime with an 11 seed. We just beat the stuffing out of Arkansas. Did you, or whoever Baylor beat before? Yeah, it was Arkansas. Did you watch what we did to Villanova? Did you see how we handle Wisconsin? And all they do is win, and because their games weren't the great games. They were the great performances, but their games weren't the great games. And so I had to believe they're sitting there thinking, what about us? We just put a whooping on that Houston team, and we're the underdogs? They just struggled to get through that number 11 seed who had to play in the first 4 game. Nothing taken away from UCLA. And Baylor had to be sitting there just going, what about us? And you could just, I don't know if that fueled them. I'm going to guess it did. But even if there was a lot of talk about Baylor, I think they would have come out of one and were the better team. I don't know how much stock you put into that kind of rah-rah stuff. I don't know how much stock you put into the motivational stuff, the off-the-court stuff. But there was certainly, to me, something to it. And I just had this feeling as we sat here. I remember yesterday when we were talking to Dennis Passion, who was in Indianapolis. He covers Gonzaga. And all the talk, and I asked him about that. And he said, if you're Scott Drew, you got to be sitting there looking at your chops, right? Nobody respects you. Nobody cares about you. Nobody's thinking about you. It's all about Gonzaga. And hats off to Scott Drew, because that coach has been there 18 seasons. He has done an insane job in building that program from the ashes. One of the two biggest scandals in the history of college athletics. When you look at the biggest and scandals, whatever your word is, that have destroyed programs, that have rocked programs to their core, was what happened with Penn State football and what happened with Baylor basketball. I mean, is that arguable? It's not, right?
No.
And Penn State football has come back, and you've had Bill O'Brien and Coach Franklin up there. And what Scott Drew has done in Waco to not only make them relevant, but to have them cutting down the nets in the most insane year we've ever seen, period, semicolon, also in college athletics. Hats off. Remember, this was the number one seed going to be last year. This was a team that might have even been better, JJ, with the guys they lost. They might have even been better last year. They were really, really good. And I just, I look at it, and I take nothing away from Gonzaga. You're the second best team in college basketball. Little Gonzaga from Spokane, Washington, out of the West Coast Conference. They got nothing to be ashamed of. They got beat by a better team. And, would the question, 7-game series, who would win? From what I saw last night, I don't know how you can convince me it wouldn't be Baylor.
Yes, it's unbelievable what they do defensively, how uncomfortable they make you feel. Like, watching that game, I felt uncomfortable for Gonzaga when they had the basketball. They didn't know how to handle it, and Baylor was doing that to everyone this tournament. I keep going back to it. I do think those were the two best teams in college basketball. One of them just happened to be on a different level, playing unlike we've seen anyone else do this season. They are the epitome of a 3-and-D player as an entire basketball team. They're so good offensively, but yet their bread and butter is their defense, their physicality, the quickness. Gonzaga didn't know how to handle it. They couldn't handle it. So many turnovers. Some of them weren't necessarily like great plays. It was just how uncomfortable they were with the basketball, trying to drive inside, fumbled, boom, going the other way. And I think Gonzaga probably beats anyone else that comes out of the other side of the bracket, not named Baylor. And then Baylor does that to pretty much everyone else that comes out of the other side of the bracket. Yeah, and I think it's just proven by what we saw the past 3 days from the Bears.
I said this earlier, and I'll say it again. I think they are so well assembled, Baylor, meaning they are so deep and good at every position. They were incredibly well coached, tenacious. They played with insane energy. The offensive rebounding to me was the difference overall. Yeah, they shot well, but when I look at the rebounding numbers of 38-22 and see that Baylor had 16 offensive rebounds compared to Gonzaga's 22 total. I mean, it's always one of the biggest stats. I know people always go to turnovers, and I do too. But offensive rebounds tells you so much because second opportunities. And just talent. Just talent. The way they shot, how composed they were, how deep they were. I couldn't be more impressed with what I saw last night.
And just the Baylor story overall is, how did you start to get guys to come to that program? Because they've had their moments before. This Baylor team in the last 2 years has been one of the best teams in all of college basketball. You go back to the previous NCAA tournament appearances, and just to think of 18 years at one place is insane. Like, that doesn't happen anymore. But for Baylor to realize that they need to give a coach time because of how disastrous the situation was. Moving on from the Dave Bliss era, the cloud that left over the program and the university. But to give him time and then somehow get players to start coming in and buying into what you're selling about this program, it's incredible what he has done at Baylor.
And it took patience, right? In 03-04 is when he started. They went 8-21, then they went 9-19, then they went 4-13. And then they started to get better. So it took him 1, 2, 3 really bad seasons when the program was gutted. Then they went 15-16. Then they made the tournament, went 20-11, 24-15, 28-8. He's been to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, now 9 out of his 18 years. Half the time he goes to the NCAA tournament. Your point on how do you get players there? Now they're a brand, right? Now they're a program. I think the football piece probably helped them a lot, right? The branding, the gear, that whole Oregon way of doing things, I think was a part of it. But there's a lot to it. It's a private, faith-based institution, not in Dallas, not in Houston, not in San Antonio, not in Austin, in Waco, Texas.
Right. What do you know about Waco, Texas?
Right? I mean, my daughter, every time she's like, "Dad, where's Baylor?" And Dad, there was a massacre there, right? There was Waco, Texas. Not Austin. Not even Lubbock, for crying out loud. So how you got players there is insane. But you look at what they've done the last couple of years. What do you go 28-2 this year? That's 54-6 over the last 2 years. Won national championship. 54-6 over the last 2 years. It's insane. And I've never been to Waco. I've heard things about Waco. I've known people who've lived in Waco. It's Baylor, and then they get out. They go to Baylor, and then they get the hell out. Right? No, honestly.
Well, yeah, and that's what you're doing, right? You're saying, hey, you're coming to Baylor. The campus, obviously, is pretty nice. Outside of the football stadium, I got to believe that they've put some money back into everything else for the students and the student athletes. And when you're successful, you're winning at a high level, you're going to get people's attention to come hang out at your campus.
Yeah. And I guess, you know what, people say that about anywhere that they're not. And that's why the people live everywhere. You know, why would anybody go to Spokane? Why the hell would anybody go to Albuquerque, New Mexico? Who's going to live in Waco, Texas? Why would you go freeze your ass off in Madison, Wisconsin, right? And that's the beauty. People, there's cool things about most places. I'm not going to say everyone, but there's cool things about most places. JJ, I've lived in some places that I would never have thought. And I think it's a mindset, right? I remember leaving San Diego, California to go to Yakima, Washington. What am I doing? I remember I had my little Subaru, and I'm leaving one of the coolest spots on the globe, going to, I don't even know where I'm going. And I loved it. I had a great time, right? So you can live a good life in Waco, too.
You're already halfway to the Washington lifestyle with the Subaru, so you did have a leg up.
That's the truth. And then I got rid of my Subaru while I was up there. 505-246-0610, 888-922-0610. Want your thoughts on the tournament last night, the Sam Darnold trade. I got some emails on the Masters. I got emails on Bobcat. I've got baseball from last night as well. It's the opening drive on 95.9 FM and AM 610, the Sports Animal.
The real deal. Call State Farm agent Marty Size in Albuquerque today.
Like a good neighbor, State Farm is there.
Rudy's is a proud supporter of ProView Networks.
A rogue virus, no jobs, sky-high tuition debt. Life is trying to put our generation on the sidelines. But we refuse to just sit back and watch it pass us by. Instead, watch us fly ahead. Watch us overcome anything. Watch us rise. Watch us change our world. Watch us become the next greatest generation.
Calling all football players, are you looking to develop your skills this season? It's never too late or too early to put in the work. Coach Carl Barrere and the Air Barrere program at 8 Grady's Performance Center provide comprehensive position training for aspiring football players at all levels. Whether you're looking to increase your speed, gain strength, or hone your skill, we train all positions with a team of experienced coaches who know what it takes to succeed at all levels from Yaffle to college. Check us out at 8gradys.com to learn more and sign up for training today.
Jackson Compaction wants to help you keep your green.
And keep the community green as well.
Jackson Compaction has worked hard to maintain the same prices since day one. Always easy and painless trash removal with professional crews and quality service. If it's non-hazardous waste, debris, or trash on your land, leave it to us. At Jackson Compaction, we're dedicated to ensuring the conservation of our environment.
You trash it,
we smash it. Jackson Compaction, we've earned a reputation for great results.
Hi, I'm Staff Sergeant Hayes. I'm with the New Mexico Army National Guard, and I'm from Tucson, Arizona.
Hi, I'm Staff Sergeant Greg Martinez. I'm with the New Mexico Army National Guard, and I'm from Santa Fe, New Mexico.
Hi, I'm Marilena Fernandez. I'm with the New Mexico Army National Guard, and I'm from Santa Fe, New Mexico.
The New Mexico Army National Guard is a proud supporter of New Mexico high school athletics.
For your surprisingly great rates, contact your local State Farm agent today.
If you want the real deal, call State Farm agent Art Sandoval in Albuquerque today.
Like a good neighbor, State Farm is there.
Next in line.
Rudy's is a proud supporter of ProView Networks.
Sadie's is a proud supporter of New Mexico high school sports and athletics, and we here at ProView Networks would like to thank Sadie's for their continued support in helping us bring you all of your New Mexico high school sports coverage.
Meet Greg Shamus. He's a State Farm agent, which means he's here to help with all this. But it's easier to just remember he's here to help life go right. Call State Farm agent Greg Shamus at 505-898-3648 today.
At New Mexico Highlands University, you're more than a student, you're family. Whether you're taking courses in Las Vegas, Santa Fe, Rio Rancho, Albuquerque, or Farmington, you'll get that one-on-one attention to inspire you to reach your goals. Let New Mexico Highlands help take your passion and accelerate it into a career and fulfilling life path. Find out why New Mexico Highlands is the right choice for you. Log on to NewMexicoHighlands.com today.
The other question that's going to come up is going to regard Gonzaga, and was this a failure of a season? Is it? And I'm going to say no. In fact, I'm going to tell you it was an incredible success. There's a difference to me, JJ, between failure and disappointment. It can be a disappointment because that team was probably the best they've ever had and had a chance to win a national championship, and I think was the second best team in college basketball. I don't think it was a failure, and I've heard that. I vehemently disagree with that. A team that gets to the national championship game did not fail. Can it be a disappointment without a failure? I believe it can. Where are you on that?
Yes, I'm severely disappointed in Gonzaga, but I don't think it was a failure. You know, they were in the national championship game. There's nothing that you go back on and say, oh, let's take this away from you because you just did this or you just beat that team. They lost to the best team in college basketball. Let your eyes tell you the story. Not anything about the West Coast Conference, not anything about them being undefeated at that point. That game tells you everything you need to know about both these teams. Is Gonzaga is still really good. They just ran into a better team in the moment, the Baylor Bears. And it is absolutely disappointing. And it does go back to a little bit of the national narrative, which I know we don't buy into, but until they win a national championship, there's going to be a lot of people out there that just say, well, they are only here because of the West Coast Conference, which isn't necessarily true either. It's because of what they do in the non-conference, because there's a lot of teams that have gaudy records in quote-unquote weaker conferences that aren't seated where Gonzaga is, because they're seated in these places because they are that good of a team. They showed you that on their run to the national championship game. Disappointment, not a failure.
Well, and again, go back and who they beat and how handily they beat them. And if you want to go take a look at their non-conference, well, Jeff, that was November, December. Okay, don't they play basketball in November, December? Or should we just stop everything and just play a tournament? They beat by double digits Kansas, Auburn. West Virginia was their only single-digit game, I believe. Iowa, Virginia, Oklahoma. Got through USC and UCLA in the tournament. I'll buy disappointment. I will not buy failure. Edward, good morning. You're on the opening drive. Good morning, Edward.
Well, good morning.
You know, in the same capacity, I was rooting for the Utah Utes, I believe, in 1998 or whenever that year was, and those back-to-back Butler teams that made, consecutive final games, championship games, and then last night's situation to root for a non-power 5 or 6 conference team to win the national title. I was heavily rooting for Gonzaga last night. And to your point, is it a disappointment? Absolutely. Is it a failure? No. But now they're going to be a footnote. And just like those stats that they pulled up during the game last night about undefeated teams that didn't close the deal, nobody talks about Butler. Very rarely does Butler come up, and that's probably less than a decade ago. Nobody talks about the Utah Utes, even though they won a national championship however many years ago, right? But I think Gonzaga is, nationally known, and they do talk about Gonzaga, with the national powers. Just some quick, Waco, Texas has a population of 141,000 people, so it's the 26th largest city in Texas. Not in the nation, in the state of Texas, 26th largest, and the 192nd largest city in America. So to your point about getting phenomenal athletes, think about this. They hired Dave Bliss in 1999, and that was a complete debacle, his 4-year reign there, where a player was murdered, a cover-up, and for them, 20 years later to win the national title, what a phenomenal run, and I give them credit. I work with a gentleman that attended Baylor, which, by the way, is a cool $47,000 a year to attend. That's Jeff Siembieda type money, maybe even Bobcat type money. But as disappointed as he was when Beyonce got slapped in the face in the Elite Eight this year and didn't get a call, he's totally thrilled, and I'm so happy for him. But I'm disappointed. I was hoping they'd close, and I think even before the tournament started, I said if they were ever going to win one, they need to win one this year, but they'll be back. And they had some misfortune a few years ago when they played North Carolina in the final game, which they probably could have gotten that one, won that one. Regarding Sam Darnold, he was the number 3 pick 3 years ago. For them to give up a 2, a 4, and a 6 to get the 3rd overall pick in the draft, I think was a steal, quite honestly. And I think both teams won because they have some draft capital now that the Jets picked up. But to JJ's point, what's the difference? What are you getting that Bridgewater's not getting? But Jeff, I think you made an astute point. The Carolina Panthers organization saw a full 16-game schedule with Bridgewater and made a decision that that's not our guy. And I think it's worth giving up draft picks. There's no guarantees, that what you're going to draft this year. And I think the failure rate with quarterbacks is staggering. So the Jets were a complete dysfunctional organization. And, yeah, he didn't do great, and he lost a lot of games and didn't show mettle. But you don't know. I don't think there's a baseline on Darnold yet because of the complete and utter disorganization and dysfunction with the Jets. So I think it's a good move, quite honestly. Anyway, enjoyed the game, enjoyed the tournament, and hope you guys have a good day.
All right, see you. 505-246-0610 is where he called. If you evaluated your quarterback room, JJ, and what you're saying is they could have done this later, Carolina, that's where you are with this. They didn't need to do it now. Justin Fields may slip to 8, and if that's the case, they could have done that and kept their draft capital, and they didn't need Sam Darnold.
Yes, I would definitely take that chance because I don't know. Now, was there another team in this bidding war, and then that's where, hey, maybe someone else comes in and goes for Sam Darnold? Yes, Carolina is sold on Darnold. That's why they traded a second-round pick for him. I just don't like the timing of this move for the franchise. I think they could be better off with a top 10 pick if, say, Justin Fields slides out of the top 3. And then also, if not, that's, I think, a trade that you could probably make on draft day. So, all right, we'll give you our next year second-round pick and the 6th-round pick in a couple days for Sam Darnold. Because I'm just not sold on Darnold being that big of an upgrade over Teddy Bridgewater, specifically in that offense, especially if you look at Teddy Bridgewater played the majority of that season without the best offensive player in Christian McCaffrey. And this is one where I think Matt Rule, he's in a tough spot because they went all in last year saying, you know what, we're going to be a good football team. You ain't good. You don't have a lot of room now. and you're left with two average quarterbacks, hoping one of them pops off.
All right, so how much of them being average was their best player, the guy who I think was considered the best running back in the game before, the best playmaker in the game, at least non-quarterback playmaker, played one game, two games all season. And secondly, they got mediocre quarterback play. So if you say, all right, in my mind, I'm upgrading quarterback. Now, I got it that you're not convinced of that. But if the head coach and the general manager say, in our minds, we've upgraded the quarterback play and we're getting that guy back and he's healthy and doesn't have a full season of wear on his body, then why aren't we going to be good? Why aren't we as good as we thought we were going to be last year, if not better?
I'm also, though, sitting there and wondering, y'all were selling us the same thing last year when we
I got
supposed to believe you that Teddy Bridgewater was going to come in and do exactly what Sam Darnold is. Now things change. You're right, evaluation, and I think I'm not going to push back on the point of Teddy Bridgewater was in that room with them all year. I think Teddy Bridgewater's probably a good dude, but Teddy Bridgewater, and this is something we knew before he signed with Carolina, Teddy Bridgewater is the backup quarterback on a good team. Like, that's like, oh my gosh, we have the best backup in the league type of situation. Like, he's that guy that's going to be mid-level, and so yes, you're looking for what could be better than Teddy Bridgewater. And they believe it's Sam Darnold. I just don't think this is a good move for their franchise right now with not knowing what could happen on draft night.
Well, there's going to be a lot of good backup quarterbacks in the league, aren't there? I mean, you start looking at some of the guys that over the last couple of years. When you're telling me there's 4, 5, 6 quarterbacks drafted in the first round each year, within 2, 3, 4 years of that, there's some damn good, or should be some damn good backup quarterbacks in this league.
That's a problem. A lot of these first-round picks end up just being good backup quarterback. Marcus Mariota. Hey, I think Mitchell Trubisky is probably going to be that guy next year. He wins a game or two.
I think you're right.
Like, whoa, okay. Look at that.
Hell, Jim Garoppolo might end up being one of those guys, too. All right. Those are problems you can solve through the draft. Here's problems you can solve by calling NuMale. If you're dealing with fatigue, maybe hair loss or low testosterone. Gentlemen, call NuMale. These things are natural. Don't be ashamed of these things and don't ignore it, because they're not going away by ignoring things like this. As men age, the fact is these things happen, and there's a good chance it can happen to you if you're experiencing things like being regularly tired, carrying a few extra pounds, or erectile dysfunction. I suggest you call NuMale. NuMale leads the way in this industry, helping men deal with these things, men's health, testosterone replacement. And they've led the way for years. They utilize the latest, the cutting-edge technology, and men all over the country are benefiting from what NuMale is able to do. They feel better. Call them at 505-652-1688. That's 505-652-1688, or visit NuMale, NuMale.com. Fellas, NuMale is convenient. They're right here in Albuquerque. The process is comfortable. It starts with your first phone call, goes all the way through the treatment. NuMale guides you through the process, and the best part is the results are absolutely real. 505-652-1688. Don't put it off, fellas. Take care of you. Visit NuMale.com or call 505-652-1688. Feel better.
Turbo Threads is a proud sponsor of ProView Networks.
Almost 30 years of experience means fast service, great prices, and a wide selection of apparel from t-shirts to performance sports shirts, even jackets and hats. They feature low minimums and no setup charges on most orders. Turbo Threads is located at 1503 Golf Course Road in Rio Rancho, or find them on Facebook, online at turbothreads.com, or call 999-1234 for Turbo Threads.
Plan your adventure at WNMU.edu.
Extreme Clean is a proud sponsor and supporter of ProView Networks and all high school sports athletics. Owner Mike McLean and Extreme Clean specialize in carpet cleaning for apartment, realty, business, and residential clients. With over 20 years experience, attention to detail and quality customer service matters. For more information, give them a call, 505-221-6440, Extreme Clean.
your surprisingly great rates, contact your local State Farm agent today.
If you want the real deal, call State Farm agent Ashley Duran in Albuquerque today.
Like a good neighbor, State Farm is there.
Here at Legacy, we are here to disciple people by helping them connect with God, grow in relationships, and live generously.
Wide open, Jaden Phillips. Oh, he shattered him like dirty laundry into a hamper.
That was a Derrick Henry style stiff arm.
Motion, there's Winnikoff. Lane, it looks like Winnikoff's wide open over here, but he's threatened on the play. That was Jaden Brown, and he's going to have to just chuck this one up, and that's a touchdown! Wow! I can't believe he was in position for that play.
So, things are looking good. They'll want to avoid Webskowski on the kick, but it gets to the 10. Or I beg your pardon. Now across the 50. That's going to be an opening house call. He's going all the way, and he's going to go untouched. 90 yards for Lujan, and that is a nightmare start for Clovis.
That young.
Nice serve by Moore. Wow. Outstanding work. The middle blocker, Haley Areola.
Gomez again, the motion man. This one instead handed off. And right through the gut, there's a bunch of space. Nice little hop there. Etrisco fans are on their feet, and for good reason, as that's a 41-yard touchdown. Jaden Cowley.
And 11 for the Tigers. And then we'll roll.
Big day around our crib, JJ. Audra's birthday. Oh, what do we do?
Happy birthday.
Yeah, she wants a certain cake. Do you know what a chantilly cake is?
Yes, I do.
What is it? I knew you would know simply because it's called a chantilly cake. What is it?
It is a white cake with berries, and I don't know the specific frosting, but I know it's more of a vanilla cream. Lighter
Do I need to
frosting.
pre-order it, or is it something that I can just go to Whole Foods?
It's usually widely available. Like it's a popular cake.
Okay, I got work to do, man. I got
very
big,
good.
Busy. Yeah, I got gifts to wrap, and yeah, it's a big day around here. So we're gonna do something after practice because she's coaching lacrosse as well. So after lacrosse practice, we could do some dinner. But a big day around here. All right, 505-246-0610. I got an email that John sent, Jeff@sportshoundablabq.com. On the tournament, it says, morning. Well, that game last night surprised me, but one thing that stood out was some of the teams that advanced deep into the dance. All those teams were solid on the fundamental basics. Defense, rebounding, free throws, passing, and in some good motion offense. And boom, Loyola, Stephen F. Austin make the Sweet 16. That was not Stephen F. Austin, that was Oral Roberts. Then you have talented teams like Gonzaga and Baylor in the title game. After watching the product here the last 8 years, makes me wonder why it's so hard to do that here when it's been proven over and over. So it always comes back to home, doesn't it? And what do you do to get that here? Why can't we get that quality here? Why can't you didn't see it this year in San Diego State, but they've been to the Sweet 16 twice. How do you get that here? And JJ, what we saw from Lobo teams is is so far from what we watched in the tournament. And I know fans are going, okay, how long until we, or Aggie fan for that matter. His question is, why can't our teams look like that?
Well, what level are we talking about? Just the execution, the fundamentals? Because that is absolutely a fair question. You should expect that. But I think all of us can see why you're not going to look like Gonzaga and Baylor on a regular basis. They're recruiting and getting players that you're never going to get. But to the point of consistency, competing in your conference, it's the Jimmies and the Joes and the X's and the O's. And I think that, fortunately for the Lobos, especially in Paul Ware era, they lacked consistency both in terms of player development and the coaching staff.
I think there was a consistency in large respect over the last few years just because what they were trying to do felt like it was changing, at least year to year and certainly sometimes within the year, right? You look at what Gonzaga does, there's a personality to Gonzaga teams. There's a style. Certainly the Baylor teams. I don't know how you teach the tenacity. So let me back up a second. What we watched last night, and I've told you this throughout the tournament, what were the two things to me that stood out? It was offensive rebounding and freaking free throws. Now, free throws is another story. But so is offensive rebound innate, or is that something that is taught/coached?
It's coached. There's certain traits that everyone is going to have, regardless. Like some guys are going to have something that you don't have to bring it out of them. Others you do. Like what was one of the biggest stories of the tournament to what you're talking about in rebounding? The fact that Houston puts a lid on the rim to work on rebounding. To say, all right, none of your shots are going to go in. And that's absolutely brilliant. Like it seems like this something that should be so simple, but to put that bubble lid so you don't know where the ball is going to go. Every possession is going to be a battle. That is excellent coaching. Because I can't tell you how many practices I've been at watching coaches trying to miss on purpose for a rebounding drill, and it doesn't work out well.
So what JJ's talking about is Kelvin Sampson. There's a product called, I think it's called the shot bubble. It fits over the rim, so you run your offense, but it's a bubble, so the ball bounces off. It's got different. Well, it's textured, and so you go through practice, and there's a rebound on every shot, and it's why Houston rebounds. One of the reasons Houston rebounds so well, and offensive rebounds. You know, there were a bunch of times, JJ, if you go back and watch the game last night, not only did Baylor get 16 offensive rebounds, but I want you to go back and look at some of the shots that they made, some of their three-pointers. Look at the position they had. They would have had more. I just watch how aggressively they go to. You know, typically the defensive team is boxing out. They have inside position. Go back and look at that game when you rewatch it, and look at how many times that they scored and had rebounding position and would have had more offensive rebounds. I think it's both. I think it's innate. I mean, there's a personality. You go back and look how great a rebounder Charles Barkley was, Charles Oakley, some of those guys. Not the biggest guys, but the most tenacious. And then watch what you watch with Houston and then Baylor. I think it's both.
30.
Maybe it's you recruit a guy with a certain personality who's able to do that. I don't know. But man, I just think offensive rebounding in today's college game is such a big component. 505-246-0610. It's the opening drive on 95.9 FM at AM 670 Sports Animal.
11 for the Tigers. Thurman will roll to his right. Throws on the down and out. Caught. Trying to go for the goal line. Leads it in. Touchdown. What a play.
Jaguars, the snap handed off to Cowley. The big man sweeps aside one, cutting back inside. He turns around the other direction. He's heading this way, and he's got to just beat one more, and he does. Touchdown.
Cover a ball. Barella in the serve. There's the dig. Boom, the kill shot. Number 6. I tell you what, man, Morgan Torres on the kill shot. 7 seconds left. People are stunned. There's just so much scoring on this game. Will the Hawks be able to respond with the big play? There's a fake on the right side. He's got an open field. Oh my gosh, and just like that, holy cow, amazing. Just like that, the Hawks score. Number 2, Caden Valdez on the right side.
Number on the punter. He'll pop this up. The man to receive it is also wearing number 3, Isaiah Garcia. He does catch it off the hop. Nice move by him. He's got some room out there on the right-hand side. He's got to get around his opposite number. He does. Gets one block in. He gets around the last guy. Can he get in? And there's the first points for the Manzano Monarchs. Isaiah Garcia all the way here from his own 45.
Don't sacrifice quality of flavor when you're in a hurry. Golden Pride offers ribs, fried chicken, green and red chili breakfast burritos, and Frontier Cinnabons. 4 great locations, or visit us online at goldenpride@abq.com. Golden Pride Barbecue Chicken and Ribs, proud supporter of ProView Sports Network.
Well, I'm going to the frontier, walking to the cashier, order up a root beer and a number 1. Cover it with green stuff, 1 scoop is not enough. Find a booth is real tough, backed by the Duke. Meet my family, meet my friends in the quirkiest restaurant I have ever been. All of Albuquerque's favorite spot, it's the Frontier Restaurant.
The Frontier Restaurant is a proud supporter of ProView Networks.
Are you sure we're supposed to be doing this?
Don't worry, I've watched him do it 1,000 times. Come on, what's the worst that can happen?
No! Bad dog!
Hi, welcome to Car Crafters. What happened? Don't worry, we'll make it like it never happened.
Car Crafters, it's like it never happened.
Car Crafters is a proud supporter of ProView Networks.
For your surprisingly great rates, contact your local State Farm agent today.
If you want the real deal, call State Farm agent Marty Size in Albuquerque today.
Like a good neighbor, State Farm is there.
For 5 years running, this is the opening drive with 2-time New Mexico Sportscaster of the Year, Jeff Siembieda, and JJ Bond.
Well, Edward was wrong, by the way, and I was made to by Lobo Hobo. Utah did not win the national championship. They finished. They got to the championship game, but they didn't win it. I think that was that the Keith Van Horn team, JJ?
Yeah, it was.
Yeah, they got to the finals, but they didn't get there. All right, let me get you a couple emails, and thanks for the tip on the Chantilly cake, by the way, whoever it is that called in and let me know how to take care of that. HB said the difference was you guys, meaning me and my UCLA Bruins, because, I moonlight as the coach there. Softened up Gonzaga, Jeff, while Baylor won their semi in hand play, he said. Fair enough. And then this is from Doit. He says, the producer continues to impress. Jeff, Bobcats making a strong case to get a max deal. P.S. Your Bruins snuck up on folks in the playoffs this year. Can you keep it up next season now that the cat's out of the bag in Westwood? P.P.S. The early rounds were fun, but the latter games weren't that great. Tons of blowouts. Okay. I thought they were all fun, but, like what you like. I enjoyed it. I'm going to take my bonus and go on a big vacation. By bonus for getting to the Final Four. I wonder what Mick Cronin got to go to the Final Four. Just the bonus. UCLA next year, mediocre or really, really good? Does it depend? Is Johnny Juzang going pro? Is he one and done at UCLA?
I think UCLA will be similar to what they were this year. I think they'll be more. At the end of the year, they won't be a play-in team, but I think we're talking probably seven seed.
Yeah, and because that league beats each other up so much too. We didn't hit this yesterday, and you wanted to get into it a little bit too. Mick Cronin was very vocal about he had a player who had committed to UCLA. That player was named Deshaun Nix. Committed to UCLA, like the 21st overall player. A really good player. And the G League, there was a team in the G League, which is the NBA's developmental league. And they needed a player at that position. They recruited him, told him how much better it would be to go play in the D League, and that player went and played in the G League, D League, whatever. And Mick Cronin was very vocal about it. And he said, look, the NBA is not our partner. They don't care about us. Let's be very clear. There's a lot of paths. We talked about this with Jalen Suggs yesterday. There's a lot of paths to get to the NBA. It feels like, JJ, the solution to all of this would be what I think the majority of people are going for is to allow a young man to declare for the NBA coming out of high school. You want to go to the NBA? You want to take your chance? Go. Don't force them to do this 1 year college basketball thing that they don't want to do and they're not going to school anyway. You can go overseas and get paid. You can go to the G League and get paid. You can go to college and experience what we watched so many student athletes experience this month or last month or the last month. But Mick Cronin was pissed. When a player commits, should he be off limits to these other – and I don't know how you do it because they're completely separate entities. But when a player commits to a school, morally, ethically, right thing to do, should the G League and the overseas back off?
I think once a player is signed and submits his letter of intent,
and that's what I mean by commit.
The right
yeah.
thing to do.
Yeah.
In this case, reading the stories, it did sound like Nix was a player that had signed his letter of commitment and was, on his way. It wasn't just, hey, I'm putting on a hat and this is where I'm going to go. It got to the point of the paper and the fax machine and all that good stuff. And so I think that would be a step where you say, all right, let's take a step back at that point in time and stop selling the player on something. Now, Mick Cronin didn't necessarily say what was said, but he absolutely hinted at it, that stuff that was said was wrong and not appropriate in this. So something crossed the line, in his opinion, more so than just like, hey, come play G League, get paid for a year, and then go to the NBA draft.
Yeah, he felt not only misleading, just flat out wrong, factually wrong. It's going to be interesting. Jalen Suggs had opportunities. I read somewhere Jalen Suggs had opportunity to go make $500,000 somewhere in the G League. We could have this discussion. I was reading some stuff, and I told you yesterday that there's a lot of financial people who think he made a lot more money long term, not now, long term, by hitting that shot. Now we'll see, because they got blown out in the finals. So how much is that shot going to be? Because did he finish it off? Did he validate it, as they like to say? I don't have a problem with the G League recruiting, but I'm with you. Once a player's signed, like, it feels like that should be it. Now, it's never it anymore with the transfer portal and constant recruiting and constant everything. But it just feels like you're going to have a lot of different factions of basketball pulling at each other, and I wonder at what point do they pull it apart?
James.
the answer is going to be, JJ. I think at some point, let them all go to the draft. I mean, the reality is there's 64 spots in a draft, right? 32 teams, 2 rounds. You got
60.
Is it 60? You got all the high school freshmen that they're going to make it, all the guys coming out of college, all the overseas guys. You got a lot of people. This big square peg to stuff into a small round hole, right? But that's kind of the world, isn't it? Well, Jeff, I mean, the kids are going to get hurt. Well, then what's the answer? You tell me. You don't want them to go to school for a year. You don't want them. So what's the answer?
Well, I think they've taken steps to move in the right direction when it comes to players being able to test their draft waters, work with professionals, get some guidance along the way, and then come back. I would also love to see, because at this point in time, the cat's out of the bag. And you can't tell me that your roster in June has to be set so you can know what's going to happen. I would love to see them leave it open once. All right, if you want to submit your name for the draft and you don't get selected, you have one chance to regain your eligibility.
Okay.
But outside of that, once you make that step, that percentage is so small. And you're bouncing overseas, you're trying to make it in the G League. But in regards to this specific situation with Mick Cronin and the G League Ignite team, it's still such a small number of players. Like, they're going to get 5 to 6, maybe the top 100, top 150 guys every year, if that. So the players are still going to college basketball. It's just some that they feel that's not the route they want to take. That opportunity is there. And they can bounce around the G League for a little bit, make some money, and then put their name in a draft.
All right. Lobo Hobo said JJ was wrong. He said there was the year after Keith Van Horn that Utah got to that.
Okay.
All right. Yeah. That's right. Okay, what year was that? NCAA runner-up, it was 1987-88. They went 30-4. Bruin James, how you feel about
I wasn't even alive then.
In 97-98?
Oh, 97. You said 87.
Okay. I've been listening to you guys. I'm sorry I called a little bit late. I've been busy. But I've been listening to you guys. And talk about how Gonzaga got their culture and going and everything like that. And we're a small market, I guess you'd call it a small market college, whatever. And you got to get the right coach, and it's got all the stars got to align and everything like that. And once you get the ball rolling, maybe Patino coming to New Mexico, maybe he could. It sounds like he's pretty energetic, and it looks like it looks pretty good to me. The thing is, the reason why I say it looks good because North Carolina's coach, he's gone. Other things, people got fired, and it's going to be chaos here for a little bit until North Carolina gets established with Hubert Davis and stuff like that. And as for UCLA next year going in, it's going to be a little bit different. It's going to be they're going to wear shoes they've never worn before. I mean, they're not going to be the underdog anymore. They're going to have the target on their back, and we're going to see how everything goes. We got a good recruiting class coming in. It's going to take a while because Mick Cronin teaches defense and a slow down pace. So kids just want to go out and dunk and things like that. So it'll be a little bit different. And as for last night's game, I thought the beginning of the game that Gonzaga came out a little lethargic because of the game they played with UCLA. And I think when they got behind as bad as they did, they kind of not losing during the year and not experiencing that. They were kind of lost a little bit. I guess like the Russian coach that didn't he didn't take his goalie out when they played USA in 1980. They kind of got lost. So, but again, man, congratulations to Baylor. I wish it would have been Baylor UCLA. It wasn't, but my Bruins we're looking good. The brand is back. UCLA's back, guys, and have a good day. Take care.
All right, see you. A lot there. This whole UCLA is the underdog thing is just I'm struggling with. I am. Hey, we're going to make a little bit of a change tomorrow. Jerry Palm can't do Thursday, so he's going to be on with us tomorrow. Tomorrow at 8:30. You down with that? Typically Thursdays, but we'll do it Wednesday. I was just looking up that Utah team that went to the NCAA championship game. So, and do you remember who beat them in the NCAA championship game?
Okay, so I remember vaguely. I was 10 years old when this was happening. So I was shooting a basketball into a laundry basket. But I remember at times. Keith Van Horn is a name that is still prominent. You're correct. Thanks to our fact checkers, he wasn't specifically on that team. Was it Andre Miller? At least was it? So
that was that was the Andre Miller, Hano Matala. Remember Hano Matala? Michael Doliak was on that team. Britton Johnson, Drew Henson, Alex Jensen. That was the team. Now the Lobos beat them that year in the pit, 77-74. I believe that was the year, the 97-98. I believe that was the Royce Olney, Andre Miller game in the pit. That great game. I could be wrong, but I don't think I am. But that was Lobos beat them 77-74, and then Utah, who ended up being a 3 seed in the NCAA tournament, lost the first round, the quarterfinal game of the WAC tournament. They lost to UNLV in Vegas. That was when, UNLV's got this big advantage. They play at home. And remember all that? Way back, I mean, and then they went on, they went on a run, beat San Francisco, Arkansas, West Virginia, Arizona, North Carolina, and then lost to Kentucky. It's a pretty good team. Pretty good stuff. All right, 505-246-0610. Your emails are coming in. Jeff or JJ at sportschannelabq.com.
Pretty good. And what's been pretty good for me is F45 training. I'm absolutely loving the gym, the atmosphere, all the people involved. It has been what I have needed to get that excitement, to get my energy back when it comes to fitness. I call last year my redshirt season. Yeah, I got off track. It was hard to work out at home, to find that motivation every single day. But being back in the gym at F45 is awesome because I love the high-intensity circuit training, the class formats. 45 minutes, you get in, you get your workout done, and it's one that I love to pair it. Yes, I still do traditional weight training, but I love getting the cardio workouts in, the functional movements, burpees to shoulder presses, the hip lunges, etc. Anything that you have, they'll throw it at you in different classes. Like this week, you can get your classics. We're talking, Hollywood, your 60-minute Saturday workout, which upwards of 30 stations nonstop. It's a lot of fun. But boom, Friday, it's quarterback. It's an agility, resistance, and power-based cardio workout to keep your mind and body moving forward. You're never going to feel like, here we go again, because you don't know what's going to hit you because they switch up the classes every single week. So check them out at f45training.com. Download the F45 app. You can check out the schedule of classes. They have classes 7 days a week. You can also sign up for your 7-day free trial so you can get in the gym and experience what it's all about. They do a good job. They clean before and after classes. You have wipes with you quickly to wipe stuff down. So really your focus is on the workout in a good atmosphere with awesome trainers and awesome people in the gym. It's for all fitness levels, whether you're looking to kickstart your fitness or challenge yourself to get to another level. F45 is the place for you. Check them out at f45training.com. Download the F45 app. Good location, 5920 Holly Northeast. It's Paseo I-25. Good access from wherever you're coming from in the city. Check it out. I'm enjoying it. You will too. Team training, life-changing. I'll see you at F45.
Rudy's is a proud supporter of ProView Networks.
A rogue virus, no jobs, sky-high tuition debt. Life is trying to put our generation on the sidelines. But we refuse to just sit back and watch it pass us by. Instead, watch us fly ahead. Watch us overcome anything. Watch us rise. Watch us change our world. Watch us become the next greatest generation.
Calling all football players, are you looking to develop your skills this season? It's never too late or too early to put in the work. Coach Carl Barrere and the Air Barrere program at 8 Grady's Performance Center provide comprehensive position training for aspiring football players at all levels. Whether you're looking to increase your speed, gain strength, or hone your skill, we train all positions with a team of experienced coaches who know what it takes to succeed at all levels from Yaffle to college. Check us out at 8gradys.com to learn more and sign up for training today.
Jackson Compaction wants to help you keep your green. And keep the community green as well. Jackson Compaction has worked hard to maintain the same prices since day one. Always easy and painless trash removal with professional crews and quality service. If it's non-hazardous waste, debris, or trash on your land, leave it to us. At Jackson Compaction, we're dedicated to ensuring the conservation of our environment. You trash it, we smash it. Jackson Compaction, we've earned a reputation for great results.
Hi, I'm Staff Sergeant Hayes. I'm with the New Mexico Army National Guard, and I'm from Tucson, Arizona.
Hi, I'm Staff Sergeant Greg Martinez. I'm with the New Mexico Army National Guard, and I'm from Santa Fe, New Mexico.
Hi, I'm Marilena Fernandez. I'm with the New Mexico Army National Guard, and I'm from Santa Fe, New Mexico.
The New Mexico Army National Guard is a proud supporter of New Mexico high school athletics.
Your surprisingly great rates? Contact your local State Farm agent today.
If you want the real deal, call State Farm agent Art Sandoval in Albuquerque today.
Like a good neighbor, State Farm is there.
Next in line. Rudy's is a proud supporter of ProView Networks. Sadie's is a proud supporter of New Mexico high school sports and athletics, and we here at ProView Networks would like to thank Sadie's for their continued support in helping us bring you all of your New Mexico high school sports coverage.
Meet Greg Shamus. He's a State Farm agent, which means he's here to help with all this. But it's easier to just remember he's here to help life go right. Call State Farm agent Greg Shamus at 505-898-3648 today.
At New Mexico Highlands University, you're more than a student, you're family. Whether you're taking courses in Las Vegas, Santa Fe, Rio Rancho, Albuquerque, or Farmington, you'll get that one-on-one attention to inspire you to reach your goals. Let New Mexico Highlands help take your passion and accelerate it into a career and fulfilling life path.
Starting lineup back then, but yeah, back when there was maybe 8 teams in the tournament, yeah, they had won one of the first ones. But for last night, and yeah, that made me throw up a little bit in my mouth to defend Edward, but we'll move on. Last night, somebody had called me yesterday and say, "What would you do?" And for recreational purposes only, I told them, I'd probably take Baylor in the money line, and it panned out. I think if they'd played in December, I think the same thing would have happened. I thought about the only thing that was going to stop Baylor was the virus because, they were hurting unit when they came back those first couple of games, but once they got their legs under them, they kind of took off. And it's no disrespect to the Zags because, like you said, you had 1 and 1A, and I just think maybe since the Zags had been voted one first at the beginning of the year, that Baylor was kind of in the shadow. But I said, to me, they were the best team, and they might have won last year. They probably would have got a number 1 seed last year. Them KU, maybe San Diego State was stuck in there. But we'll see in the future. But how many transfers were in that game last night? You had Alabama, Auburn, one guy from
Welcome to college
Illinois,
basketball.
Florida. So I think the transfer portal is now present, and teams are just going to have to deal with it. And the one thing now, let's talk a little tied NBA on a side note, just being my typical humor. Is Bobcat going to be always on 10-day contracts, or is he going to be able to negotiate himself a long-term deal?
Well, it depends what Bobcat wants.
I'll let you be for the day, and you guys have a good one.
See you, Terry. I mean, it's up to Bob, right? In a lot of respects. I mean, what is? I don't know. Bob wants more than a 10-day contract.
I'm happy here.
Are you really?
Yes.
Really?
It's
We've run
working out
out
for me.
Producers.
I know.
We've gone
we go through a lot of them now.
Yeah, you talked to Micah and you talked to Joe Gonzalez and you talked to those guys about that. You sure you want? Because we've gone through a few.
Well, that's okay. That's their problem. They didn't know what the good.
Here. That's their problem, JJ. I'm glad you're here for, however long it is. However long.
I am too.
You're here during Masters Week. Masters will start on Thursday, and Dan wants to talk Masters. He said Jeffrey, Juan Jose, and Bobcat. Sunday, it'll be the usual suspects at the top of the leaderboard: Lee Westwood, Paul Casey, Tony Finau. But they'll all choke as normal. It'll be Dustin Johnson or Justin Thomas who will walk off the court with a green jacket. So we just did this 5 months ago, right? Dustin Johnson won, set a course record, if I'm not mistaken. Where do you put DeChambeau in this? And you'll draft. You want to do a draft tomorrow? Is that what we're going to do? A-Ron going to take part in this too? Bob, you want a part of this? Are you do you do the Masters at all? Do you follow this at all?
No, not really. I played golf before, but I haven't been following the Masters. It's I got too much stuff going on.
No, I get it, man.
He's producing shows 7 days a week at this moment in time.
He's got to deal with Strauss. Find out where the latest blueberry pancake's coming from. And
I know where that's coming from.
Yeah, I was getting delivered. Or maybe we'll do a little Masters draft tomorrow. Ron, you figure that out. Are you on our show now? Are you like our regular producer? Those guys, like speaking of Bobcat, we've got
we've got a new one on ProView.
On the ProView side, we've already gone through 3 and working on 4. So that's he's shaking his head like, yep, nope, I'm in. All right,
so he's in.
Aaron. All right.
So tomorrow, if you wanna take part in it, feel free. Send in your pick. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna have a snake draft. So 5-man team. You think that's a good number?
Yeah, that's fine. Are we going to do it by total money won, or how are we going to do it?
Oh, score.
Score.
So combined score of your team.
And what if a guy doesn't make the cut?
Well, then that counts against you. You got to find guys that are going to make the cut, which is incredibly difficult. But I think it's going to be a lot of fun because we're not going to tier it. Like if you want to go 5 big dogs, go 5 big dogs. But see the 5 best players you can pick to get the lowest score this weekend.
Okay. So, but if a guy doesn't make the cut, he's going to have a low score because he's going to have 2 less rounds. See what I'm saying?
We could.
We'll figure it out. You figure it out.
But I think
or you could do what place he finishes it in, or lower. Yeah, lower scores. I'm down. Ryan wants in too. It looks like everybody wants in. Everybody wants in. Edward said, "Thank you to Terry, and you being associated with the Crusher may have just indeed be the highlight of your year. Well done." I don't even know what that means. All right. So, Dustin, where do you put DeChambeau in this whole thing? He's got to. It's going to be a composure thing with him. He's borderline robotic. This is what he's been eyeing, right? This is he's trying to take down Augusta. They're trying to make it so he can't take it down. This is fascinating watching this guy, and I can't wait to watch him on this golf course.
Yes, Did you see his warm-up yesterday? He looked like a hitting machine. Like he was testing a golf club. Like he wasn't even trying to like set up. His caddy would toss him a ball. He'd hit it, catch one, put it down, and hit it. So it was like a speed hitting drill. Like this dude is just doing I don't know, but he's just doing these things that people aren't accustomed to. And it was funny because Vijay Singh was just standing there, like watching him. He's like, what is this kid doing? But he was just in awe. Like they're just hitting bombs every 5 seconds. And heck, it works because he is a major champion. Do what you got to do at this point in time. I love what he brings to the table because he is a bit of a heel. Guys pushing back on him. He's like, whatever. He's got that attitude where he's going to argue about everything. But it makes it that much more interesting in a major tournament.
I may draft him before you do. I know you want him. I may take him before you.
Yeah, we'll figure it out.
We'll get Aaron's thinking the same thing. He's like,
We'll get a scoring system that works, that can figure it out. I'll put that together, and we'll have some fun talking Masters tomorrow, getting ready for the tournament.
Yeah, Jerry will be with us at 8:30. We'll talk about the hoops, and then Thursday morning. And you know I love when we have live sports going on when we're on because it's so rare being in the morning. But we'll have that on Thursday, and it all gets started because it's a tradition unlike any other. And this is Jim Nantz week, right? Hello, friends. I've gone from Indianapolis to Augusta. Hello, friends. 505-246-0610. Who you got in the Masters? What do you think of the Sam Darnold trade? JJ doesn't like it for Carolina. He think it was a little too early. Major League Baseball All-Star Game coming to a region near you. That's next on the opening drive on 95.9 FM and AM 610, the Sports Animal.
Turbo Threads is a proud sponsor of ProView Networks.
Almost 30 years of experience means fast service, great prices, and a wide selection of apparel from t-shirts to performance sports shirts, even jackets and hats. They feature low minimums and no setup charges on most orders. Turbo Threads is located at 1503 Golf Course Road in Rio Rancho, or find them on Facebook, online at turbothreads.com, or call 999-1234 for Turbo Threads.
Plan your adventure at WNMU.edu.
Extreme Clean is a proud sponsor and supporter of ProView Networks and all high school sports athletics. Owner Mike McLean and Extreme Clean specialize in carpet cleaning for apartment, realty, business, and residential clients. With over 20 years experience, attention to detail and quality customer service matters. For more information, give them a call, 505-221-6440, Extreme Clean.
Your surprisingly great rates? Contact your local State Farm agent today.
If you want the real deal, call State Farm agent Ashley Duran in Albuquerque today.
Like a good neighbor, State Farm is there.
Here at Legacy, we are here to disciple people by helping them connect with God, grow in relationships, and live generously.
With Jeff Siembieda and JJ Buck.
My day starts right.
95.9 FM and AM 610. The Sports Animal.
You ready for D-Sham Bomb at the Masters this weekend? Jeff's head is already spinning. This man has too much to do today and over the next few days. But I'm excited for this tournament. It should be a lot of fun. Yes, what Dustin Johnson did last year. All of a sudden, the Jordan Spieth bandwagon is getting a little full coming off his win at the Valero Texas Open. So Masters weekend will be a lot of fun to enjoy. Opening drive, JJ Buck, Jeff Siembieda, AA Ron Bobcat with you this morning. Coming back at you. So, haven't gotten anything, so just reintroduce the crew. So wherever you want to go, we can. We're back. We're live.
All right then. Jeffrey disagreed with you. Jeffrey disagreed with JJ. JJ said the Lobos will never get, quote, those kind of players, i.e. highest level basketball talent. He said never is akin to infinity, and I disagree. And I responded, I said I kind of agree with JJ, especially plural players. You were talking about Gonzaga, you were talking about Baylor, that they'll never get those players. Never's a long time. Fair enough.
Yes.
Fair enough.
Like if we want to start going down that road and picking it apart like that, yes, you're going to be able to get guys. We've seen it. It can happen. I think one of the best eras of global basketball, unfortunately I don't have anything to show for it in terms of what everyone wants, and it's that Sweet 16 banner, was that roster where you put together, you got Kendall Williams, Tony Snow, Hugh Greenwood, Alex Kirk, and Camberso. You can absolutely get some dudes. But on a consistent level in those houses, like the Lobos are never going to be a final choice for the number one player in the nation, like Gonzaga is in back-to-back years. That's more what I'm referring to.
It's amazing that Gonzaga's in on I mean, really some of the best recruits in America, year in and year out. The Jalen Suggs thing is right there. It's borderline amazing that this little school in Spokane, Washington, this little Jesuit school, is become real contenders for some of the overall the best players in America. All right, baseball, according to a lot of sources, Buster Olney amongst others, is moving the All-Star game to Coors Field. You probably heard over the weekend that the commissioner has moved the game out of Atlanta. The voting, all the voting legislation, the laws, they baseball opted out of the game in Atlanta due to the voting laws passed in Georgia last month. I'm not looking to get political on this. You guys can have this conversation over on 770 all you want. Or what is it? News Radio 96.3. What Bobcat, what is it? 96.3? Whatever it is.
Yes.
Here's what I'm going to tell you on this. Some of you are going to tell me, oh, that's politics belong in sports and baseball should make this statement, and that's fine. That's fine. That's not where I'm going. Here's what to me where the bummer is on this. This is where the little guy is going to get hurt. Whether that and the little guy in Colorado just got healthier, right? They estimate this is $100 million economic impact for the city that hosts the All-Star game. That's real, okay? So the guy who runs that bar near Coors Field or that hot dog shop or that souvenir shop all of a sudden is all about this, and I get it. Guy who runs, and I don't care what the person's political views are that runs it near the new stadium in Atlanta that was counting on the T-shirt sales or whatever. And this is, I guess it's somewhat akin to the argument about the Dairy Queen in Nunez not hosting the single A football championship game. But this was something that was on the calendar. You're taking it away. That's where I feel for people. I'm not going to get into should they have. It sounds like the commissioner, I read yesterday, Rob Manfred's got a membership at Augusta National. Not sure that he's given that up. It's okay to have a team that plays in Atlanta, but we're not going to bring our game there. But I feel for the little guy in this one. The guy who, was going to bought his season tickets for the Braves and was taking his kid to the All-Star game. Daddy, we can't go to the All-Star. Can we go to Denver? No, can't go to Denver. I feel for that guy. I feel
You're still
for
going
for
to 81 other baseball games in that.
No, I get it, but don't tell me the All-Star game's not different.
It will be back. It's a brand new stadium. It won't. Maybe it's not this year or next year, but in the coming years, within 5 years, Major League Baseball is going to hold their All-Star game in Atlanta.
Okay, Colorado wins. I mean, if you want to go up the road and go to an All-Star game, and you can go. I just how far should sports go with this? Because and does this make an impact? Do you feel by baseball moving their All-Star game out, does it make a difference, or does it just you think it does? Or does
Absolutely.
It just
Look at this.
Okay.
Look at the commentary surrounding it, and then the way
there's a lot of
politicians
commentary
are reacting, like all of a sudden lashing out. Absolutely. If you might not like it, but sports is big business, and the dudes running these teams, the dudes that own these teams, are very powerful figures in cities and politics. So yeah.
Is there a big difference between hosting games there? Like I know there was a big push, and really this was last week. They want there's a big group that wants the Masters moved out of Georgia, like that was going to happen. But there is there a huge difference between the business of hosting regular season games there and an All-Star game? I mean, it would be a bigger effect, and I don't know how you would do this, is to pull, if this is what they wanted to do, to pull the Braves out, move them to pick your blue state, right? But I sometimes wonder if messages have the intended effect that the effect that they're intended to have.
Yes.
Okay.
Because this is, as you just said, it's a symbolic thing.
Mm-hmm.
It's an economic impact.
It's hugely economic. Yeah.
So I'm not saying they should pull the Atlanta Braves or the Masters away from where it's played at Augusta National. But this is something you can do that's still symbolic in those regards and gets people's attention, and has the brings up the subject with what you want to address, and what Major League Baseball did, moving the All-Star game. You're not taking the Braves out of it, but it's one where you say, all right, we'll see you down the line, which I believe you got a brand new stadium. You're in a classic baseball city. Like, the All-Star game will be there, but this is absolutely an impactful move right now.
And this was the year they were going to honor Hank Aaron, who passed away a few months ago, who, I mean, iconically broke Babe Ruth's record in Atlanta as a member of the Braves. It was, the setting was perfect for honoring one of baseball's, I mean, Mount Rushmore guys?
Oh, yeah.
I don't know if we're doing Mount Rushmore, but Hank Aaron's, right? I mean, Hank Aaron, Babe Ruth, probably two of the guys that you don't get a lot of argument about. John, good morning. You're on the Quan's Auto Care Hotline. Hello, John.
Good morning, guys. How are you?
Good. How are you doing?
Good. I hope you had a good Easter weekend. I just had a comment about Major League Baseball making the decision to move the All-Star game. First of all, it was started by Dave Roberts, who's the manager of the Dodgers, who was pegged to be the manager of the National League in the All-Star game. And he posited before the decision was made that he wasn't going to manage it because of the Georgia voter law. And then it took off, and Major League Baseball ran with it and moved it. But the premise for moving the game about the Georgia voter law is based on lies, and it's been proven. Even the Washington Post gave Joe Biden 4 Pinocchios for the lies that he perpetrated about the Georgia voter law. In fact, there are 13 to 15 states, including New York and California, that have more stringent voter laws than this new law in Georgia. So I think it's ridiculous. I think I'm sick and tired of politics being interjected into sports, especially the games, the nation's national pastime, baseball. I love the Dodgers, lifelong Dodger fan, especially for Dave Roberts to do this. It just leaves a sour taste in my mouth. And, we go to sports to get away from politics, and they keep bringing it in there, keep throwing it back in our faces. And when we go to sports for our refuge to get away from all the garbage that we have to put up with. And for moving the game, it's ridiculous. They don't even know. Even Dave Roberts on Saturday said he wasn't sure about the intricacies of the Georgia voter law, but he just doesn't approve of it. So that means he didn't even read it. He doesn't even know what's in it. And it just really ticks me off, and I'm sick and tired of it.
Thank you, John.
I'm glad Denver gets it. My son lives in Denver. Perhaps we'll go to the All-Star game with me and my grandson and my son. But, it's time for this madness to stop. Keep politics out of sports.
Thank you, John. Hey, do you know why Denver, by the way? Why they went to Denver?
No.
I don't either. So a lot of people feel that way. And you tend to not feel as strongly when the politics, go with the way you agree, and I understand that too. And I'm going to tell you, I don't think it's going the other way. I think politics, athletes are going to be much more outspoken moving forward. Now, it's kind of outspoken one way, but and there's a lot of people who feel his way, JJ, but I don't know that I think that it's going back the other way anytime soon.
No, politics, I don't, it's what we talk about, and it's what we addressed last year. We got to take this break, so I don't want to get too open about it, but just like politics is a part of everyday life, and we're talking about big business decisions, things like that are going to factor in.
All right, 505-246-0610. I want to tell you about Dr. Stephen Coleman and Coleman Vision. That's where I had my LASIK done. Back in 2003, I was working at Channel 13, anchoring the morning news, and getting up every morning, 3, putting on my glasses, going to work, bringing my lenses, putting on my makeup, then the lenses, my eyes were red. I was done. I had been wearing glasses since high school. I went and saw Dr. Coleman, and they diagnosed me with a high degree of astigmatism, which is one of their specialties. He treated it. I had a surgery at 1 o'clock in the afternoon and woke up immediately, opened my eyes, and saw the difference. Anchored the news the next morning at 5 a.m. with no lenses. Haven't worn them since. It changed my life. Dr. Stephen Coleman is in on the testing and the development of all of the latest technology. He uses it here, but it's used around the world. It's developed at Sandia Labs, and he's in on this. Dr. Stephen Coleman is the best when it comes to LASIK. That's why patients come from all over the country to have their LASIK done at Coleman Vision. So who is a candidate for LASIK? Anybody. Pro athletes, to doctors, to office workers, to nurses, to housewives, to police officers, to anybody, you and me. If you think you're a candidate, I really strongly suggest you go see Dr. Stephen Coleman. You'll find out immediately whether this is right for you and what the process will be. And if you're not, he'll tell you. But if you're tired of wearing lenses, you're tired of dealing with all that, it changed my life, and I think it can change yours. Go to ColemanVision.com, take a look at what they've got, and then give them a call, make an appointment. 505-821-8880. That's 505-821-8880. Seeing is believing, and I sure as heck believe.
Open, Jaden Phillips. Oh, he shattered him like dirty laundry into a hamper.
That was a Derrick Henry style stiff arm.
Motion, there's Winnikoff. Lane, it looks like Winnikoff's wide open over here, but he's threatened on the play. That was Jaden Brown, and he's going to have to just chuck this one up, and that's a touchdown! Wow! I can't believe he was in position for that play.
So, things are looking good. They'll want to avoid Webskowski on the kick, but it gets to the 10. Or I beg your pardon. Now across the 50. That's going to be an opening house call. He's going all the way, and he's going to go untouched. 90 yards for Lujan, and that is a nightmare start for Clovis.
That young.
Nice serve by Moore. Wow. Outstanding work. The middle blocker, Haley Areola.
Instead, handed off. And right through the gut, there's a bunch of space. Nice little hop there. Etrisco fans are on their feet, and for good reason, as that's a 41-yard touchdown. Jaden Cowley.
11 for the Tigers. Sherman will roll to his right. Throws on the down and out. Caught. Trying to go for the goal line. Leads it in. Touchdown. What a play.
Jaguars, the snap handed off to Cowley. The big man sweeps the side one, cutting back inside. He turns around the other direction. He's heading this way, and he's got to just beat one more, and he does. Touchdown.
Cover a ball. Barella in the serve. There's a dig. Boom, the kill shot. Number 6. I tell you what, man, Morgan Torres on the kill shot. 7 seconds left. People are stunned. There's just so much scoring on this game. Will the Hawks be able to respond with the big play? There's a fake on the right side. He's got an open field. Oh my gosh, and just like that, holy cow, amazing. Just like that, the Hawks score. Number 2, Caden Valdez on the right side.
Remember on the punter. He'll pop this up. The man to receive it is also wearing number 3, Isaiah Garcia. He does catch it off the hop. Nice move by him. He's got some room out there on the right-hand side. He's got to get around his opposite number. He does. Gets one block in. He gets around the last guy. Can he get in? And there's the first points for the Monzano Monarchs. Isaiah Garcia all the way here from his own 45.
Don't sacrifice quality and flavor when you're in a hurry. Golden Pride offers ribs, fried chicken, green and red chili breakfast burritos, and Frontier Cinnabons. 4 great locations, or visit us online at goldenpride@abq.com. Golden Pride Barbecue Chicken and Ribs, proud supporter of ProView Sports Network.
Well, I'm going to the frontier, walking to the cashier, order up a root beer and a number 1. Cover it with green stuff, 1 scoop is not enough. Find a booth is real tough, back by the Duke. Meet my family, meet my friends in the quirkiest restaurant I have ever been. All of Albuquerque's favorite spot, it's the Frontier Restaurant.
The Frontier Restaurant is a proud supporter of ProView Networks.
Are you sure we're supposed to be doing this?
Don't worry, I've watched him do it 1,000 times. Come on, what's the worst that can happen?
No! All right, tomorrow Jerry Palm will be with us. We'll talk with him. I know that's normally a Thursday thing, but we're going to do it on Wednesday. The Masters will go the next day. Carl says, without Tiger Woods, it doesn't feel like the Masters, Jeff. Normally, Carl would get up before sunrise, do a little early AM tailgating, waiting for T-Dub to tip off. It kind of does to me. You're going to have to get used to this, man. Now, I'm not telling you Tiger will never play in the Masters again, because I believe he will. I believe he'll play in 15 more Masters, right? That'll get him up to close to 60. I believe you're going to see plenty of Tiger in the Masters. You're not going to pick him. Maybe you will. But it does feel like the Masters to me. I'm watching, what Jordan Spieth is doing. I'm watching DeChambeau. I will always consider Koepka and Dustin Johnson a favorite at the Masters. Rory tends to play well in big weeks. Like, there's nothing to me that when I see Augusta, just seeing that golf course, there's something about it, man. It feels like the Masters to me.
Yeah, Tiger did something for golf that will never happen again. Never. And that's true. Once he's gone, these tournaments won't have the same impact for a lot of people. Now, there are 4 weekends a year, major golf tournaments, that still get your attention, and the Masters is on top of the list for a lot of people that you don't have to have Tiger Woods in it to have a wow moment. It is definitely incredible with Tiger Woods, and what he did to win his last major tournament was unbelievable. But there's still enough there that this is one of the weekends that is fine without Tiger.
Glenn says, Chantilly cake, Jeff? Whole paycheck makes a mean one. But you better plan on pulling out at least a $50 out of the ATM before stopping by. All right. Look, it's one of those days, man. Whole paycheck, as we call Whole Foods. That's kind of cute. Why Coors Field? 1998 was the last time Coors Field had an All-Star game there.
Maybe it's just time, and they're getting close in a rotation anyway.
I guess. I don't know.
There's other things you can partake in Colorado?
Yeah. I don't know. All right. Didn't get into much of the baseball last night. See the trash cans the coming over at Anaheim Stadium or Angel Stadium, whatever we call Anaheim Stadium these days.
All right.
Hit me on the Astros.
How do you feel about that, Jeff?
How do I feel about what?
So I'm all about the fans making sure Houston knows what's up, since they couldn't do it last year. Do you really need to be throwing trash cans on the field, though? Like that guy might have had one too many hard seltzers.
Yeah, no. Is that where we are now? We don't even drink beer at the ballpark anymore? We can't have a hot dog anymore? It's hard seltzer and tofu dogs? Is that what we have to have now? Sushi and hard seltzers? Buy me some hard seltzers and sushi rolls. Sushi. Yeah.
I don't care if I ever come back. Yeah.
And you know what? You're probably right. It's probably the damn people who are drinking seltzers and eating sushi at the ballgame. No, you're probably – in fact, they deserve that. Yes, it's not the people who eat hot dogs and drink beer. Yeah. It's the people no, we probably don't need to be throwing trash cans on the field. The Astros are going to get it wherever they go. And,
as they should this season.
And it's hard to say they don't deserve it, right?
They 100%
by the way, they're 4-1. Yeah, they're out to a 4-1 start. They're pretty good. I just –
Bregman, much better start to the season. He had a really good weekend.
Mm-hmm. Is it going to be the first game of series, or is it going to be just every single road game? Because I think it's going to be every single road game.
Because there's going to be new people in that ballpark for every game. And they're like, you know what? This is my moment. Houston, you haven't heard me yet. I got my ticket for this Wednesday night game, and you just wait until I get there, because my boo is going to be fantastic.
Mm-hmm. Does it motivate them? I think Houston's going to have a terrific year. I think the Astros are going to have a terrific year.
And it's one of those weird ones where they're going to be like, yeah, you're against us. Well, we should be. You cheated the game of baseball. And, like, now you're acting like, why are you against us? Because y'all cheated. And you admitted it, and nothing happened to you. It hit everyone else but the players. So, yeah, take some booze during the season, bro. Like,
why you mad, bro? Why you mad, bro?
Like, your manager got hit. Other managers got suspended. And you guys are just still out there running on the field like, we're good. Why are you booing us? What are you talking about?
Check out my bling. You see my World Series ring?
Oh, what's that? World Series ring. Can't hear it on this side.
I am World Series champion. Oh, they say you can't take it away from us. They must be right, because we did everything we could to make you. You can't take it from us. World Series champion. Doubt that. Fernando Tatis, you a little worried about your Padres superstar?
Yes,
got injured last night.
Awkward. I can tell if it was his shoulder, if he strained his oblique.
They don't know either.
It swung through, missed the pitch, and then fell to the ground.
Just a big old hard rip, and he partial shoulder dislocation on a swing. On a swing.
Are these guys doing lat raises? Do they need some F45? What's up with Cody Bellinger? Now Fernando Tatis.
Yeah.
Like, what's up with their shoulders, y'all?
It hurts, man. It hurts.
Bands. Warm them up.
Jim Rome Show is next. The Herd with Colin Cowherd after that. The Sports Bar with Trulio and Carlisle comes your way at 4. We're back tomorrow morning with award-winning radio. We'll begin it at 7 a.m. Aaron, get your draft picks ready. We're doing a little Masters draft tomorrow. Bobcat, thank you again for guiding us through the light, or to the light, or through the night, or, well, at least through this show.
You're welcome.
JJ, go get poked. It's a big day for you.
Have a day, y'all.
I'm going to go find me a Chantilly cake, see what I can do about it. I'll give you a report tomorrow. Be good to each other, please. Be kind, loving, caring, and sharing. We will smell you tomorrow.